Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning to our honorable speakers and as well as our participants for today's workshop. Today is the series of the workshop under Teaching Excellence Unit, and this is the first series. Thank you very much to everyone here for joining our workshop entitled Teaching Sessions ExcellenceSharing Session Award Recipient 2023. So first and foremost, I would like to inform to all participants that we will have 4 speakers for today's session, which is Professor Madya Dr. Devagi, anak perempuan Kanakaraju. She is an associate professor in chemistry, Faculty of Research Science and Technology. And for your information, she is a Magu Teaching Award receiver 2022. And the second speaker is Miss Natasha Rusti Wong. She is a lecturer in Design Technology Program, Faculty of Applied and Creative Arts, and she is also the Magu Transformative Teaching Award receiver 2022. And for our third speaker is Madam Tay Seo Ping. She is a nursing lecturer from the nursing program, Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. And she is also Magu Immersive Learning Experience Blended 2022 Award receiver. And the last speaker is Mr. Ahmad Ahlif bin Kamal. He is a lecturer in a pre-university UNIMAS, and he is also one of the Magu Alternative Assessment Award receiver 2022. So we honored and glad to have these 4 of award receiver for 4 categories in the year 2022. So without further ado, I would like to invite our first speaker, which is Professor Madya Dr. Devagi, in start her sharing. Before that, I would like to remind our participants, if you have any questions, you can unmute your microphone or you can write in the chat room so that I will ask the speaker directly. Or if you would like to wait until the end of the session of the speaker, also can. All right, so I think I would like to pass this session to Associate Professor Dr. Devagi to start her sharing. Over to you, Dr. Devagi.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mazlina. So I'll share my presentation. Is it clear, Doctor?
Yes, it is clear.
Okay.
Perhaps you can do the slideshow. I think this is not slideshow.
This one is actually,
Oh, it is.
okay, like all else. Is it better?
Yes, yes. I think
Okay.
this is the show presentation.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Mazlina, our moderator for this sharing session. So a very good morning to all my colleagues present today in the virtual meeting this morning. So I am Devagi from FSTS. You can call me Dave. Okay. So first of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to CAM for organizing this sharing session. So I'm very delighted to share my experience on how I prepare the teaching portfolio specifically. That is the product that will be evaluated by the panel when you intend to put in your submission or your application for the anugerah pengajaran under this TE, the Teaching Excellence. Okay, so this is my outline. Okay, so what I have prepared for the sharing session this morning. So basically, I'll cover about what is portfolio or the teaching portfolio, the criteria of Teaching Excellence Award, and also some strategies that you can take into consideration when you are planning to prepare or develop the teaching portfolio. Okay, so I hope this would meet your expectation of being with us today, this morning. Okay, so let me just recap a bit on how I learned by myself on how to prepare the teaching portfolio. Okay, my first exposure was by attending Dr. Azida's webinar. Okay, this was organized by CAM, and she is also a recipient of Anugerah Akademik Negara. So it was, I actually learned a lot from her talk and on how to prepare a good teaching portfolio. Okay. Beside that, I also did some research myself. Okay, so there are a lot of portfolios that have been uploaded, okay, on internet. If you spend some time to look up such materials, and I basically use this as a guideline, as my guideline when I intended to put in application for this Magu Teaching Excellence Award category. So it was indeed very, very helpful. I also follow Prof. Karim's materials, okay, and whoever that you feel comfortable with, I think you can learn from the experts, okay. So we don't meet so that we don't make any mistakes when we are preparing the portfolio. Okay, so we want the best end product to be submitted for these categories. Okay, okay, this is more not really theory per se, so I just want to like recap a bit on what is portfolio, or specifically teaching portfolio. So this is basically a compilation of academic and professional materials that exemplifies your belief, skills, qualifications, education, training, and also experiences. Okay, so it comprises of several elements. Okay, the leadership, your teaching philosophy, okay, teaching learning experience and approaches, your self-development, and also knowledge sharing. So portfolio is basically it's a process where you document your journey as an educator. Okay, so it comprises your strengths, your achievement, okay, the growth as an educator. Okay, moving on. Okay, so this is I extracted from Borang Anugerah Academic Magu. So what Anugerah Pengajaran actually means. Okay, so it's bertujuan memberi pengiktirafan dan sanjungan kepada tenaga pengajar UNIMAS. Okay, and menunjukkan kesarjanaan dan kecemerlangan dalam pengajaran. Okay, so amalan I just read some of the keywords here. So kecemerlangan pengajaran, so it refers to pendekatan yang kreatif dan inovatif berasaskan falsafah teori atau prinsip pengajaran untuk meningkatkan kualiti pembelajaran pelajar. Okay, so from this definition here given for Anugerah Pengajaran. So this one actually will take us to the criteria that will be evaluated under Anugerah Pengajaran. Okay, so that takes us to this slide here. So this is the core of my sharing today. Okay, so this is the content of a teaching portfolio. So meaning when you submit the portfolio, so you must make sure you have all these criteria in the teaching portfolio. So the evaluation will be based on these 6 criteria. Okay, the first one is teaching and learning philosophy. The second one, strategies in teaching, supervision, and assessment. Okay, criteria number 3, creativity and innovation in teaching and its impact on learning. Criteria 4, teaching evaluation and testimonial. Criteria number 5, improvements in teaching and assessment and professional development. And the last one is scholarship of teaching. Okay, so these are the 6 criteria of Teaching Excellence Award that you should have in your teaching portfolio. Okay, before you describe each and every criteria, it's good to have an introduction about yourself. Okay, so to give the first impression to your evaluator or the panel who is evaluating your teaching portfolio. Okay, so what you can include in the introduction. Okay, so you can describe about yourself, your education background, your expertise, and then your view or personal perspective of teaching and learning. Okay, your motivation. Okay, so what keeps you going as an educator? Okay, and what you have accomplished. Okay, you can also add a personal quote to reflect your view about teaching and learning. So these are the things that you can consider in the introduction about yourself. Okay, now I move on to the first criteria of the teaching portfolio, which is the teaching and learning philosophy. Okay, so what can you include in the first criteria, the teaching learning philosophy? Okay, so these are the questions that you can answer basically. Okay, so what is your belief as an educator about teaching and learning? Okay, your goal in teaching and learning, and ideally you should choose a theory or model to explain this, to answer these questions. Okay, so you need to state and elucidate your teaching philosophy based on a chosen theory or model. I think there are a lot of theories and models available that you can choose at least one from, okay, to reflect all these questions, okay, to reflect your belief, your goal in teaching and learning. And you also need to explain why you have specifically chosen that particular theory or model. Okay, so there must be a reason and you need to explain the reason and how the chosen theory or model has impacted your teaching and learning journey. Okay, so this is the criteria number 1. Okay, next is criteria 2, the strategies in teaching, supervision, and assessment. Okay, strategies in teaching, supervision, and assessment. So based on the theory or the model that you have chosen in criteria 1, so the rest of the criteria should be aligned to that particular model or the theory that you have chosen. Okay, so here you need to detail all the strategies or approaches that you have implemented in your or you have conducted in your teaching and learning. Okay, so I think all of us have engaged in various activities in our teaching and learning over the years. Okay, so for example, it can be in the lecture form or discussion or PBL, problem-based learning or game-based learning. So these are the example of the strategies that you might have chosen in your teaching. So you need to basically explain each and every one of them. Okay, so that is under the strategies in teaching. And then for supervision, okay, so you have to explain, for example, you might have a WhatsApp group or Telegram for your supervision of your FYP and your master or your PhD postgraduate students. So, and also, what are the strategies that you have or you have been engaging on for the supervision of your undergraduate and postgraduate? So everything need to be detailed out. Okay, so in terms of the teaching and also the supervision. So from my experience, what I have done, the best is to separate them. Okay, so you separate the strategies in teaching. Okay, so you explain each and every strategy that you have used for your teaching and learning. So once you are done with that, you move on to the supervision, and then you talk about your supervision strategies, your how you communicate with your students. Okay, and then the strategies in your assessment. Okay, so what are the type of assessments that you have implemented in your teaching? Okay, so it can be either formative, summative, or authentic. Okay, so each and every one of them you have to explain in detail. Okay, so based on the courses. Okay, also under these strategies here, so you need to provide also some evidences, okay, that is required for the evaluation. Okay, so you need to include the list of courses, okay, the course outline and number of students. Okay, so you can probably tabulate them, and the course outline, I think it might be an extensive document. So what you can do, you prepare like a QR code, and then you try to link your files to that QR code. So if the panel scan, and then they can get hold or get access to the course outlines. Okay, and then you also need to prepare the list of students under your supervision. Okay, so you need to prepare for both cases here, undergraduate and also postgraduate. So if you have being a supervisor for the past 10 years, so meaning you have to basically tabulate or get hold of the whole list of your 10 years. Okay, so it's quite a substantive document to prepare. Okay, so now I move on to criteria number 3. Okay, creativity and innovation in teaching and its impact on learning. Okay, this criteria is also, it will take a lot of your time to prepare. Okay, so you need to provide statements to support creativity and innovation in teaching and learning. Okay, so these statements, it should be aligned with your philosophy, the criteria number 1. Okay, so what is the model or theory that you have chosen, and what kind of innovation or creativity that you have introduced in your teaching and learning. So it needs to be aligned. Okay, and then you need to explain also about what are the issues that you have tackled that made you to innovate. Okay, so over the teaching period, normally over the semesters, you might have come across with certain issues that that has made you to innovate. Okay, so you must basically explain in your portfolio. So what is the issue and how you innovate or you encounter those issues. Okay, and then next, what is your innovation, and explain its impact. Okay, so you must relate the innovation to the impact. Okay, so how your innovation has impacted the students in terms of their achievements, okay, or their grades or results. Okay, so this one you need to make comparison. Okay, so before and after, for example. Okay, before the innovation, this was the grade or this was the result. Or after the innovation, so this is the result. So you have to show to the panel, the evaluator, that such innovation has really made an impact on the students' performance or in their grades. Okay, and also you can look at the domains. Okay, domains assess you either psychomotor or affective or cognitive domain. So you make comparison. And innovation also can be in terms of your postgraduate students. okay, in terms of the publications, or if the students have received awards, okay. So how the supervision also impacted your students. So you can also explain those under this category. Okay, the evidence is very, very crucial, okay, when in teaching portfolio. So you need to gather all the relevant evidences, okay. For example, the photos, students' reflection, student sample of work, okay, videos that your students have produced. You can also use CLO achievement reports, okay. So to basically explain in your teaching portfolio about the creativity and the innovation. Okay, so the innovation, this is in the form itself. So the innovation, what they are looking for is asli, okay, significant, and also relevant. Okay, so these are the terms that is used under the innovation element. Okay, so you can also summarize, okay, after all the explanation. So to make your evaluator's job easier, so you can also summarize all the elements that they are looking for. Okay, the asli, significant, and relevant. So for example, what you can do, you have a tabulate them. So you have the list of the courses, the code, and the name, and what are the approaches, strategies, or the innovation that have been introduced in the particular courses. Okay, so this is good to summarize after all your lengthy explanations and your evidences. Okay, now I move on to criteria number 4. So this is teaching, evaluation, and testimonial. Okay, so I start with the teaching evaluation. Okay, so teaching evaluation, this one, I think at the end of each semester, I think we can get this document. So you can refer to the course evaluation for your for the courses that you have taught for the semester. Okay, so you can basically try to extract out all the data that is needed. Okay, for example, this is what you can try to tabulate. Okay, whatever the course is, the semester, I think you get the certain percentages. Okay, whether your results is excellent, and then how many respondents that you have. So you need to basically compile for all the courses that you have taught. If it's 10 years punya course, then you have to tabulate. Okay, so that's why I say the compilation can be really, really tedious. Okay, and you can also provide related evidence like your CLO report and achievement, okay, to show this criteria, or to meet this criteria of the teaching evaluation. Okay, and then for the testimonial, okay, for the testimonial, you need, I think this is mandatory to have. So you must have testimonials from your colleagues, okay, from your students. So, ideally, it's good to have both undergraduates and postgraduates, and also the faculty management, okay, maybe your dean or timbalan dekan prasiswaza, okay, university management, okay, your collaborators or your industry partner or from community, okay. So these are the testimonials. So it can be in the form of email or letter, or also you can extract from the social medias, okay. So these are all the mandatory items that you must have under the testimonials. Okay, so that is the criteria 4. Okay, now criteria number 5. Okay, so improvements in teaching and assessments, and also professional development. Okay, so I covered the first part here, the improvements in teaching and assessment. Okay, this one, basically you need to displaying how do you improve your teaching and learning approach. Okay, so you have to display your effort to constantly improve your teaching and assessment practices. Okay, so how do you document your improvement? Okay, and what are your reflective practice? Okay, so you can record your reflective practice in terms of in a diary form, for example, or you might record them in your notebook, okay, or in your blog. Okay, so you need to provide all the evidences. Okay, so you need to extract all snapshot and provide in the teaching portfolio. Or you can also look at the students' feedback. For example, if you engage in a certain or you introduce a certain or specific teaching learning activities, so you can try to do a survey and get the students' feedback, and you try to reflect. Okay, so look at the comments and you try to find out what could be the room of improvement. So that can be also a form of reflection or on how you improve your teaching approach. Okay, besides that, you can also look at the Cielo achievement report. Okay, at the end of the semester, we can get access to the Cielo achievement report. So this can be another tool for our reflection purpose. Okay, so for us to evaluate the strength of the course and also the area of concern. Okay, so you can also look at the students' midterm results, final exam results, and think of the interventions. Okay, so all these can be ways on how you improve your teaching and learning approaches or teaching and improvement of teaching and assessment. Okay, next is still under criteria 5. This is the professional development. Okay, so you need to show the evaluator that you are constantly engaging on improving yourself. Okay, so that is the professional development. So how you can show them? So you need to basically tabulate, okay, come up with a table or list what are the courses, workshops, or seminars that you have attended over the years. And also you can show the research projects, okay, your research to normally I think teaching and research, it goes hand in hand. Okay, so the information that you gather in your research, you can also use it for your teaching purposes. Okay, so you need to basically list them out, okay, all these courses, workshops, seminars that you have attended, and also your research projects. Okay, so you need to also provide evidence, okay, photos or certificates. Normally when we attend conference or workshop, we will receive the certificates, or if you have photos, you can also include them in the teaching portfolio under this category of professional development. Okay, so all these items here to basically display that we are continuously improving ourselves as an educator. Okay, this is the last criteria of the teaching portfolio. Okay, criteria number 6, the scholarship of teaching. Okay, so under scholarship of teaching, there are 3 things that you should include in your teaching portfolio. Okay, the first one is sharing your teaching learning approach. Okay, so if you have done any sharing, okay, in your faculty or to your university or to other universities, then you need to provide all those details and evidence. Okay, seminars, or if you have publications, you can also include them. And if we have do sharing via social media, okay, so you can also extract those information to be included under the sharing. Okay, and then recognition. Okay, so if you have invited as a speaker, okay, for teaching learning related activities, then you can include them if you have received awards, okay, or you have be a trainer or mentor. So all this comes under the recognition. And then the other element under scholarship of teaching is the leadership. Okay, so this one is all your involvement in the faculty or university or at the national or international level related to teaching and learning. So you need to you might be a chairperson or secretary for certain conferences, things like that. So you need to provide all the evidence. Okay, so for example, the certificate or letter of appointment and photos. Okay, for to meet this criteria of leadership. Okay, so basically that are the 6 criteria of a teaching portfolio. Okay, so beside the 6 criteria that I have mentioned, you also need to submit your CV. Okay, so the CV have to be updated. Okay, so if you're submitting for 2024, for example, so Magu 2024, so make sure your CV is updated. Okay, up to at least December 2023, for example. Okay, so it has to be updated, and this is required for the portfolio submission. Okay, so you have to keep this in mind. So CV is also a mandatory item beside the 6 criteria. Okay, so now this some ideas, okay, how to get started. So you already know what are the criteria. So how can you get started to prepare your teaching portfolio? Okay, like I mentioned, since it's a very, very daunting task, okay, because we have been in this teaching line as an educator maybe for like more than 10 years, 10 to 15 years, for example. So our documents might be scattered everywhere, okay? So we need time to compile all this evidence, and then you have to get your story, the narrative, the flow, everything in order. Okay, so the best way is to start gathering and compiling evidence. For example, if you're targeting if you are intending to put in application for Magu 2024, for example, so you can start planning, because normally the submissions required by the University of CAM is sometime or somewhere January. Okay, so you can start planning backwards from that submission time. Okay, so you start gathering and compiling the evidence, okay, and start organizing your portfolio. Okay, so you can probably start with criteria 1, or you jump up to criteria 5 or 6, whichever. I think if whichever that you think you have collected enough evidence, then you put it under that particular criteria. Okay, so align your story with the evidence. Okay, like I mentioned, the story, the narrative have to be right. The flow have to be right. Okay, and number 3, we have to follow the teaching excellence criteria. Okay, so because like how we evaluate our students assignment or assessments, we have a rubric. So the evaluators of the teaching excellence award, they also do have their own their rubrics. So we want to make our evaluators job easy. So the best is to follow the teaching excellence criteria and start today. Okay, if you don't start today, at least you make a plan. Okay, so you try to make a plan and follow that, so you can meet the deadline given for next year, for example. Okay, so this documentation is you have basically you're compiling your journey as an educator. Okay, so that is what the teaching portfolio actually means. Okay, it's very, very time intensive. Okay, because like I mentioned, a lot of things need to be gathered. Okay, a lot of things need to be compiled. We need a lot of evidences. Okay, so all the evidence, photos, pictures, your appointment letters, all these certificates. Okay, so everything need to be gathered, and then you also need to come up with your story, the narrative. You have to compose the sentences, okay, to make sure they're all clear, okay, and also interesting to the evaluator. Okay, so I think I have come to the end of my sharing. So I hope my sharing is it has met your expectation or what you have been looking for. I'd be happy to take any questions if you have. So I thank you for your time and your presence for this morning. Over to you, Dr. Mazlina.
Thank you, Dr. Devagi. Is there any questions from participants? If there is no question, I think I would like to ask a request from Dr. Devagi. Perhaps you can show us the link of the portfolio that you prepared before. So at least you can provide us with a little bit of overview what you already done in your portfolio. So if you don't mind, Dr. Devagi, perhaps you can show a little bit about the content of your portfolio. Do you have the document right now? So at least you can glance through a little bit so that they can see how it's the portfolio done by Dr. Devagi. So perhaps Dr. Devagi can elaborate a little bit of the portfolio.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Devagi.
Okay, this one okay, I have prepared my doc. I think you have an option whether in English or bahasa, betul kan, Doktor?
Betul-betul, it can be both.
Yeah.
Whether in
Okay.
Malay or English.
So yeah. So I have no specific reason why I prepare in bahasa. So this is okay, I'm sure what I'm showing here. Okay, this is the content. Okay. So I have my introduction, the falsafah, strategy, creativity, penilaian, and also the continuous development, professional development. Okay, so this is my introduction, basically pengenalan, and then my journey as an educator. Okay, what I believe as an educator. So you can have that under your introduction. And then falsafah. Okay, so you have to choose a theory or model. So what I have chosen, mine is constructivism. Okay, so I believe in constructivism. So you need to elaborate and then why you have chosen that particular falsafah or theory. And then you can have certain images or infographic to summarize. Okay, so to make your portfolio interesting. Okay, so this is an example of what I have prepared. Okay, konsep falsafah pengajaran dan pembelajaran. Okay, you can have your quotes like this. Okay. Okay, that's criteria 1. Now I move on to criteria 2, strategy. Okay, so you need to basically elaborate each and every strategy that you have done in your teaching and learning journey. Okay, so ni contoh lah what I have done for my classes. Okay, so you elaborate each and every activity or the strategy that you have used in your teaching learning. Okay, for example, this is my Sulam, and then I've done DGL. Okay, so for every activity, if you have a reflection from your student, okay, you get feedback, you can also include them. Okay, so you can also do your own survey. You ask, get feedback from the student, how they, whether they think you need improvement in terms of your approaches. Okay, so that will be very helpful. And then strategy number 3, creativity. So you need to explain what the creativity, which is aligned to your falsafah criteria number 1 tadi. Okay. So what are the innovation that you have done? Okay, so this one, like I said, is better to summarize. So this is what I have done. So you list out the courses, and then you summarize the pendekatan or the creativity inovasi that you've introduced in your courses. Okay. They also look at this kibat. This one. So this is also one of the criteria, kaedah pengajaran dan pembelajaran yang merangsang dan memupuk kibat. Okay, so how you fulfill this criteria. So you also need to explain about that. Okay, so you make it interesting lah, nampak menarik, and then ada QR code ke whatsoever. If you have your Instagram pictures or blogs, okay, so you can include them. Okay, so this is the list of courses that you need to provide. Okay, and then number of students, what are the semesters, and then the rangka kursus. Okay, because you need, imagine you have 10 courses over the years, so you need to provide rangka kursus or the course outline for each and every course that you have taught. So the best way is you prepare your QR code lah, and then you upload those documents. And then this one is the what do you call under supervision. Okay, so your postgrad and also the undergraduate. So what are their achievements? Okay, your supervision strategies. What the students think about you as a supervisor. So all those evidence you need to provide. Okay. And then how the innovation impacted your students. Okay, so you can look at the results before and after. Okay, so that's one way you make comparison. And then you can also include publications or your award from your postgraduate students, okay, to show the impact of your strategy in supervision. Contoh hasil kerja pelajar, okay, so all that you need to include. And then this is the testimonial and the assessment. Okay, okay, so this is the one I showed just now to tabulate. Okay, so what are the kursus semester pencapaian and how many respondent? So you can extract out from my class or the academia. So you can compare the CLO achievement. Okay, maybe like over the semesters, and look at the impact. Okay, testimonial also from students. Okay, so you can include that. And then, okay, so testimonial from your undergrad, postgrad. Okay, so you get your students to write something nice about you, and then you put in your teaching portfolio. And then your rakan sejawat can be in the form of email or letters, okay, from your faculty. So this one is from my TD. Okay, so if you have a collaborator, international collaborator, then you can include, or your community, okay, so you can include that as well. Okay, yang ni penambahbaikan, okay, pengajaran and also professional development. So what is your reflective, amalan reactive, to your reflective practices? Okay, so you can look at the results of your students. Okay. Okay, sometimes I think we embark on online teaching masa MCO, masa pandemic. So for example, I have prepared videos. Okay, so I get feedback from students because the students cannot go to the lab to do their practical. So I had to do some demo, and I got some comments from the students to improve for example, the quality of the video or the way how I shoot the instruments. So that's one way how I reflect, okay, on the teaching, for example. Reflection of your teaching learning approaches. Okay, so example, you ask student to prepare for example, you use a scenario-based learning approaches, or you ask student to prepare comics, okay, in your teaching and learning. So you can do survey and find out from student whether what they think about those approaches, okay, and then you do a reflection, or you can write your personal note, a personal note to yourself. Okay, how did your teaching go for this semester, or every month you buat reflection ke, okay, so it depends. Okay, everybody will have a different way of reflecting ourselves. And then this one is the development, okay, your usaha penambahbaikan. Okay, in terms of like I said, you can include all your research. Okay, so these are my projects. Okay, so you can summarize them. And then your professional development by attending kursus-kursus berkaitan teaching and learning, so you can include them as well. All your senarai kursus, okay, you need to include. So kalau you rasa panjang sangat, too many, if your table gonna be like too lengthy, so you prepare a QR code for the evaluator. Okay, and then the scholarship of teaching. Okay, if you have done sharing. Okay, this one I embark on, for example, my Science Avenger projects with my other colleagues in FSTF. So I elaborate on that. Okay, so I've been invited to give this talk. So this is also on the Science Avengers, on our effort to increase scientist pool in Sarawak. And then my sharing, this is my book. Okay, so all your sharing, so this is my sharing about DGL. So whatever sharing that you have done pertaining to teaching and learning, so you have to include them. Okay, yang ni my jemputan as evaluator. Okay, lantikan. Okay, whatever you think is relevant to teaching and learning, then you include them. Okay, so you need a letter, appointment letter, kalau ada gambar. Okay, so include them all lah. Okay, okay, this is my my sharing, okay, about teaching and learning on the online platform. Okay, so this was published on Unimas now. Okay, so if you have written to, for example, newspaper ke, okay, so you can extract them out lah for your teaching portfolio purposes. Okay, so yang ni semua most of the what are the activity community. Okay, so if you're involved in as a pensyarah pelawat, what are your anugerah, lantikan universiti, lantikan faculty. Okay, so selalunya banyak kan, so what you can do, buat macam ni lah, easier. Okay, so tak perlu letak table panjang-panjang. Okay, so yang ni semua most of my lantikan lah. Okay, so you arrange in a way to make it like interesting to your to your evaluator. Okay, so all the lantikan, gambar, and then you can have your CV. Okay, so updated CV, your publications, things like that. Okay, so if you panjang sangat, so you buat macam ni lah. So only certain things you want to highlight in the document itself. The rest it can be scanned. Okay, so you can also have appendices. Okay, whatever you want to add on that will add value to your teaching portfolio, and then you can finish with the certain pictures or your quotes. Okay, I think that's all, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Devagi, for the insightful and for the fruitful sharing. So I really hope with the sharing from Dr. Devagi, most of the participants and all of the academicians will try to participate in the teaching award for this semester. You have to enter for the faculty level first. And normally, when you participate in the faculty level, then normally your faculty will choose you or will encourage you to join for the MAGU award recipients. And after that, if you have the potential, we will carry to the level of Anugerah Akademik Negara as well as Anugerah Khas YB Menteri Pendidikan. So I would like to encourage each and everyone to participate in this coming Faculty Teaching Excellence Award this coming August, okay, 2023. So thank you very much, Dr. Devagi, for your sharing and for all the content that you are provided to us this morning. So for the second speaker, I would like to invite Ms. Natasha Rusti Wong in order to share with us regarding the transformative, okay, teaching award recipient for 2022. Over to you, Miss Natasha.
Okay, thank you very much. Try and share my screen first.
Yes.
Are you able to hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Over to you, Miss Natasha.
All right. Thank you very much. Hold on, yeah. So let me open up my. Where did it go? Disappear pula dia. Okay. So I hope everybody is able to see my screen. If you're unable to, just let me know. Or if you can't hear my voice, just let me know. It's been a while since I done a sharing session online. So let me just present.
Yeah,
Masih dapat
you
tengok,
can
eh?
see your slide. Yes. Your
Okay,
voice also
thank you
clear.
very much. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say thank you very much to Dr. Maslina for inviting me to do my sharing session today. It's an honor. I'm excited and also nervous, so ada shaking a bit, especially after sharing session by Dr. Devagi, very informative. So she actually covered more to the portfolio side. I will be covering more on the transformative teaching aspect, and later on, if we have time, I will show you the form that I filled in for my Magu application. So first of all, I would like to say that I'm actually a very new lecturer, a very junior lecturer. This is only my fourth year. Tak sampai lagi fourth, almost fourth year. So if you're feeling like you need to be someone who's very experienced, need to be teaching for over 30 years, then you can apply for Magu or your teaching excellence. Then please use me, and I'm the perfect example of like a new lecturer who is very passionate about teaching can also apply for this award. So don't let that stop you. I was very surprised also when my deputy dean told me to apply, so I just tried just for the experience of it, and here I am. So if anything, use this as a motivation for you to apply. So I would like to also say thank you for spending your time today. I know this week is very busy for everyone, so I do appreciate you being here today. So today I'm going to talk more about my topic or my area of interest. I wouldn't say it's a research. I don't want to call it a research because I didn't really delve really formally into it in terms of research. It's more like an inquiry. So like I said, I'm a new lecturer. So this was my history. So in 2019, I joined Unimas and I was very excited to teach. I really love teaching. And for 1.5 years, it was really, really fun. I met a lot of students. We talk face to face. I bring them out on outings. And then suddenly COVID hits and my world came crashing down because I know how to teach face to face, but when it comes to online teaching, it was really difficult. Most of the students are also struggling for with their connection issues and they feel like they're disconnected. So I'll get more into that later on, but this kind of sparked my interest in this area. Like, why is the student having such a hard time learning online, and why I myself is having such a hard time teaching online? So for me, it was a matter of engagement. That is one of the area that I'm interested in. So today I'm just going to go through it very casually. I'm a very laid back person. So if anyone has any question, feel free to just stop me in the middle, ask questions. I'm fine. This is just a sharing session and I would like to involve you guys in this. Okay. So first of all, I had to know what is engagement. So to me personally, engagement is the student's participation. So in class, it's really easy. A student check their phone, you can just say, hey, put your phone down. Now it's lesson time. So it's really easy to control. But when it comes to online, there is no sense of control. The student can just turn off the camera and say that, oh, miss, I don't have a webcam, so I cannot turn on my camera. Or sometimes they even say that my mic is not working, or they might be working. So there's so many factors that affect their focus in class. And if their focus is affected, they cannot really engage, they cannot really participate, and they cannot pay attention in class. So this is the area that I was really interested to inquire about. Okay, so why is it important though, engagement? I think it's quite crucial in any type of learning. Since children in kindergarten, you will always see that the teachers will always try to get the children involved. So in part, engagement is one of the most crucial factor of learning, because if the students feel like they can engage with you in class, they can participate with you in class, then they will feel like, okay, I'm actually part of this lesson. I'm actually learning, and then my process is being appreciated, being monitored, and being, given feedback by my lecturer. So in part, engagement is also very important. It's not only the factor that's important, but it's one of the factor that's really important. So this is the part that I was very interested in, because in online learning, I noticed that my students has very low engagement level, especially for my first semester when COVID hit. So I did ask them, and I did ask them through their feedbacks. I contacted them. I even called them. So this is not a formal research, but like I said, inquiry. So throughout this presentation sharing session today, I'll just let you know the feedback that I get from my students and also my colleagues. I did ask my colleagues also about their experience teaching online. So first things first. I think everybody, all lecturers wish this is what happens behind the class or behind the camera. We wish that the parents would sit next to the children or next to the student and say, study, focus. But that's not really how it goes. Most of the time, the parents, during COVID, it's stressful. Most of them have to share one laptop. I had a student who had to share between 3 families, one laptop, like one cousin had to share with one nephew. So it goes on. So there's a lot more challenges to online learning. So not to say that they don't want to engage or they don't want to feel connected to class. It's just that the situation doesn't allow it. And most of the time, to be honest, at that age, the student feels like this is the age where they want to lepak-lepak. They want to meet their friends. They want to go out. They want to work on group projects face to face. So this is the part where they feel like I'm missing out. This is the part of life that's not there for them in this stage. So that also gives a sense of disconnected feeling. They feel isolated. Most of them did tell me that they feel quite alone in their learning process. They don't feel like they have friends. So that was really sad, especially for my second batch in COVID, because they haven't even met each other yet at that point. So I also kind of have the experience of being a student in this era, because during that time, I also was a new staff. So I had to go through a lot of, mandatory workshops, like for example, PTM, things like that. So to all the new lecturers out there who knows what I'm talking about, yeah, so I had to go through that online. So throughout that, I also had an experience of being a student. So what I realized is that it's really easy for them. This is their mantra. They turn on, they check in, and they zone out. So they turn on their laptop or turn on their handphone to make sure that, their name can be seen in class. They check in, they scan the QR, and after that, they completely zone out. Even if they're looking at the screen, they might be thinking about something else. It's just very hard to feel like you are talking to a real person when you look at the screen. Even now, I think like you feel that distance. There is a device in front of you, so there is not much connection. Human connection can be felt through that. So that is part of the problem that I am trying to solve with my teaching approach. And the children or the new generation nowadays, they don't write blogs, they don't write diaries, they communicate in memes. And if you search on Google about online teaching during that time, all the memes out there shows that they are having a bad experience learning online. And this is not just for the students, this is also just for the educators as well, because we were not prepared. I mean, this was such a sudden thing that happened to us. So we were really swept off our feet, and then we just really don't know what to do at that point. So both student and lecturers are both having this difficulty to feel connected. Lecturers are desperate to teach, children or students are also desperate to learn, but the connection is just not there. Okay, so that's the number one keyword that I found throughout my inquiry, is that both my colleagues and the students say that there is no sense of connection. And this results in low engagement, which has been proven by multiple studies that it will be very detrimental to their studies. They don't feel like they can remember things, their recall is not that good, and they feel like the class is not memorable. Asynchronous classes, although they're good, I have also received feedback from my students saying that they feel even more distant and isolated, because even though it's nice, they can rewatch the recording, but if a lecturer only relies on asynchronous videos, they just feel like they are just part of, a part of something else. They don't feel like they're part of your class. They just feel very isolated. And because of this, morale is very low, because at that point, it's not like when COVID hits, we still can go out, we still can exercise. No, everybody was just stuck at home, even the lecturers. So outside of class time, they're also feeling really low. You're worried about your parents, your elderly grandparents, and then now your classes also, you feel like you go to class and you're stressed because you cannot keep up, because you don't feel connected to class. You don't know what your friends are doing. They seem to have another group here, but I'm alone. So all this kind of affect the students in various ways that we don't know. So as educators, it's not to say that we didn't try. We did try. And I think we are tired at that point because we also are stressed. And thankfully, UNIMAS has given us a lot of courses, a lot of workshops, a lot of tools for us to develop our online courses. And it was really, really beneficial. But at one point, because this was so sudden, we are all very tired also. And I think if I ask most of my colleagues or most of you guys now to reflect back, it might not have been such a good experience, because we were also in that experimental stage. So one part that the student gave feedback to me is that there is too many tools. So I know tools and all these platforms are really, really interesting. They can enrich the students' learning experience. But you have to remember, if you are dealing with one course and then if you have five, for example, five tools, teaching tools, another course might have another five teaching tools. That is a lot of accounts to sign into. There is a lot of a lot of effort on the students' part to keep up with each class. And then I myself also, when I first started, I used multiple tools because I thought that would make it interesting, and I found out that later on I feel like I cannot keep up with my own teaching tools as well. So in this case, I thought that it might be better to be simple. Yeah, it might be better to just keep it to one tool and then just make your teaching approach interesting. So that was my question. How do I make it simple enough where there is not much not much things that the student should do on their part, like downloading Kahoot or registering for this account and that account. But how do I increase my students' engagement in my online classes? So this was me at the beginning of COVID, confused unga bunga. So I really don't know how to just make them feel interested to come in class and feel like, oh, I'm excited to go to Miss Natasha's class. So I first look back at how I learned when I was small or when I was younger, when I was their age. How did I learn? especially not from my teachers, but from the real masters of online teaching. And I think most of us in this generation, we remember all of this, like Bill Nye, the science guy, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We all grew up on this. And these were the masters of online teaching. So I look back in my own history, I think back about which shows that taught me the most. Some are theory based, some are practice based, some are technical based. So actually, the perfect model is there already. If you look back at your own and you reflect at your own history, you might find something there. Yeah. So for me, because I am in FSGK, I am very, an art person. Most of you might know this person, Neil Buchanan. So anyone here knows which TV show he is from? Very famous last time. I hope everybody remember him. Ingat tak? So I blurred out the logo there for you guys to guess. If you guys know and you guys guess Art Attack, you are correct. So this is the show that I grew up with. Most of my skill set from drawing, from drafting skills, actually I learned from Neil Buchanan. Also, just a side note, a very interesting that one very interesting bonus point. He is actually now a rock star. So I find that very funny. So yeah, after Art Attack, he retired and then he became a rock star. So yeah, I grew up with these people and I grew up with these teachers, online teachers. Not only that, I look for local teachers. Siapa siapa tak lupa dengan Siti Sife? We all remember Siti Sife. Because of Siti Sife, I think I finished UPSR really well. So these are the online teachers that I looked up to at that age. And their teaching style was very effective. Even Chef One is a good teacher. To our mothers, to ourselves who are interested in cooking. So these are who I look up to and who I want to emulate in this online teaching. So is this childish, you might ask, because this is all children's show? But if you remember of this show, that means there is some sort of impact they had in our childhood. So that can also happen to young adults. So I thought that there is something there that we can learn, and why not implement that into our classes? So with that, after looking at all the online masters, I found out that for their teaching delivery is very simple. They keep casual but informative. They are passionate. They are always very eager and enthusiastic to talk to the students, to get to know the students. And the fun factor is the most important thing. The first one is that if I'm having fun, the student will be having fun. And then if I give them fun activities, which is also informative in nature, then they will also remember the skill set or the theory better. So this is everything that I've learned by observing all these online masters before. Okay. Then after that, my other inquiry is that, okay, now I know the model for the perfect online educator per se, not perfect, but almost there. Now I need to know what time, sorry, no, not what time, what type of online content are the student into. So I look at YouTube, because YouTube is, I think everyone has YouTube. I mean, please show me one student that don't have YouTube. It's impossible. Everybody knows YouTube. So that is the first platform that I went to. And I found out there's a lot of genre or a lot of content types that the students are interested in. This I ask from students, but I also just go through YouTube and look at the most recent, for example, most views videos. So the four that I found very interesting is that dare challenges. So there is a lot of dare videos that the student would love to see. Gaming, podcast, and reaction video is also surprisingly very popular, where you just react to videos or you just react to current issues, and they want to know how your reaction is or what your input is. So I find this really interesting because it's not just a few hundred views. There are millions of views, and most of them, even though in this genre you might think this is just for entertainment, but if you dive deep into it, there is a lot of educational videos within this genre itself. For example, teaching history of cinematography using reaction videos, or animation to teach English. And then now there is something called body shadowing, if I'm not mistaken. You can live stream yourself working or studying, and then there is no audio, but the student can work beside you, so they don't feel so alone. So that is very interesting to me, because that means that they are craving for connection. They are craving for some sort of companionship in their learning process. So this is the YouTube influencer strategy that I found. It's not, like, again, I said, it's not true research, but this is just an inquiry. The first thing is that they create a safe and comfortable environment for their viewers. They make sure that whenever you come and to class, or whenever you go to their channel, not class, sorry, go to their channel, you feel like you belong. Yeah, they talk about relatable issues and use current examples and relevant examples to the generation of the audience. They engage with their subscribers by involving them throughout the content making process, which means that, for example, next week I want to teach about this. Which area would you like me to cover? So the students have some sort of power to determine where they want to learn, whether they want to learn more on the practical or the theory or the technical issues behind those learning units are. So the students somewhat have a choice. Yeah. So number one thing though, these YouTubers are always interested, and they are very, very invested in their subscribers. So just having an attitude of, I want to get to know you better. Where are you from? What does your batch like? Let me know. Just having that attitude shift can actually really make the students feel connected. So in doing so, you create a community. So your class is not just a classroom, it's more like a tribe. That's what YouTubers call it. Find my tribe. So if you can make your own tribe and make sure that they feel like, oh, this is fun. I want to go to Miss Natasha's class because everyone's going to go to it, and then we're going to talk about this issue today. So that is a big plus in my book already. And then the most important thing also is that these YouTubers, successful YouTubers, they are very consistent and very simple, but not in terms of their content, in terms of how they manage their platform. So for example, if your project 1 submission is in this link, then your project 2, project 3 should be the same also. So being consistent and being predictable on how you manage your platform, in this case, ELIP page, is also very, very good, because the students, once they know you, they're like, okay, Miss Natasha's class, I know I have to submit to ELIP's submission. There's no other place, and it's always colored in red. So if you do so, it's very easy for the students to keep up, because they have a lot of other classes as well. So if you keep it easy for them to use your platform, then it's a good thing. It's a good thing as well. Excuse me. So from learning from all these YouTubers, I've learned that I can apply this in my approach. And this is what I applied through Magu. I have just two approach, which is the lecture demo, which is it's actually contradicting, because you cannot just really just do lectures. It's not really transformative. But the way I cover it is that I'm going to be focusing on the delivery, how I talk, how I behave in class, and what I use to engage the student in class. And then the second part is always exercise activities. So it's really step 1, step 2. So step 1 is usually 15 minutes. I'll do a lecture, I'll do a demo and a discussion. And then the second half, I will do a demonstration of the lecture that I did. And then the students will follow along. Yeah. So overall, from what I've learned from the online masters and these YouTubers, I feel like is that the educator's role has shifted. So at first, we were the one who supposed to give information, or at least inquire about information, or stimulate their curiosity. Instead of that, when you shift it to online, the mentality is now changing from giving information or stimulating information to creating something together. You create a sense of community, you create a sense of you belong here and you need this, and that in turn will make them feel more interested in learning with you. So that shift I found was very subtle. There's not much changes in teaching approaches. It's just the way you deliver and how you handle your class is different, which I feel like now that we've in face to face in physical setting already, I feel like I've still implement that. I'm still making sure that we are building a community in class, and we want to learn. We are very invested in each other. Yeah. So here is an example. I know I talk a lot about what I found through my feedback, but here are some of what I did. So I think I'm quite well known in my faculty is that I am the lecturer that cosplays Naruto. So if you can find Naruto on the screen, that's me. So this was the challenge or dare, which I follow the YouTubers who did the dare or challenges. So I said, if you all can submit all assignment all on time at the end of the semester, I will wear a Naruto costume for you all. And Alhamdulillah, they all did it. So I lost that bet, and I'm happy to have lost that bet. So for the entire class session, I had to wear Naruto costume. So, it gives them a sense of, oh, let's do this, guys. We want to see Miss Natasha in costume, for example. Yeah. And then the next thing is that I did interesting and fun activities. So I'm teaching a very dry subject, software, Adobe Photoshop. Most of them don't even know what it is. Most of them haven't even downloaded it. So this is something that's very dry in face-to-face classes. What more to say online? So I made a Photoshop battle activity where we have to battle and make each other laugh, like the no laugh challenge. So this was my submission for the challenge. I pun join juga. I'm the lecturer. I joined the challenge also. So I've always told them I am the eighth member of BTS. And then Jimin, if you don't know who BTS is, Jimin is the best dancer in BTS. He kicked me in the face, I said. And when I show them this example, they always laugh and they were like, okay, I want to do something better as well. I want to beat Miss Natasha. And then there is a ranking system. I make it a bit competitive, but in a fun way. And I said they have to collect points. And the points they collect is based on how much I laugh. The more I laugh, the more points you get, because that means your meme or the image that you Photoshop must be really funny to make me laugh. And later on, I'll show you some examples. And yeah, it was really well received to the point students want to do it more. So I was very happy about that. They're like, Miss, I want to do more Photoshop better, because they want to collect points. Of course, at the end of the semester, there is no winners, there is no losers. It's just a good time for everybody to laugh. That's it. And then also, I always make a point at the end of the semester, after I finish all of my learning unit, because that's the most important, I talk about motivational and mental health. I have to make sure that they're okay, because no one else will be asking them in class about how do you doing today? What do you want to do? Like, are you feeling okay at the end of the semester? I know you have a lot of projects. So this is a good practice to have. So I talk about mind chatter, for example. Mind chatter is something you say to yourself when you feel like you made a mistake. Yeah, so it's a critic you give yourself, whether it's positive or negative. We have to learn how to identify it. So things like that. And then I talk about learn in your own way. If you're a night owl, like for example, for me, 3 a.m., I am at my best point. I can do a lot of work. I feel like I'm most creative. So how do you set your lifestyle around that style, for example? And I talk about the growth mindset, and I talk about goal and value based life, and many more. We even do meditation sometimes. So I find that this really helps the student, and I've received multiple feedbacks that say that this is quite beneficial for them. So like I said, this is the feedback I received. This is just a few, but in my form, I paste a link, and then when the panels click on it, they can just see the entire thing. But I'm quite overwhelmed, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or bukan nak puji diri sendiri, but I'm actually really happy that most students received this method of teaching really well. Most of them say that they want to go to class and they want to learn more. So I'm very happy with this, because I find that at the end of the semester, I myself am interested. I want to go to class. Yeah. Oh, Ahmad, oh, I saw you angkat tangan ke? Tak. Oh, okay, tak apa. Alright. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the applause. Very cute. So yeah. So I find that this is a really beneficial thing for not only the student but myself. And I find that my mental health also really, really got well as well, because I was worried how they're doing, but now I'm not worried anymore. So now I would like to share. Okay, now I know a lot of other lecturers have a highlight reel where you show the good things that happen in class. So I have a different thing. I have a disaster reel where things don't go too well in class during my online teaching. So it's only a short video, 1 minute plus. So I'm gonna mute myself and I'm gonna play the audio. Please let me know if you can hear, yeah? Okay. Yes, but you're doing it
Is this digital or what?
It's
Digital,
digital. Shame, this is digital
I see,
media
I see.
class.
My
It's
mistake.
in the name. Introduction to digital media. Azim, apa you? Baru bangun ke? Tengok your file yang you hantar, okay? Alright.
Siapa kan ada kelas kan?
Betul. Ada kelas. Jangan kacau.
Salah.
Kau buat apa, Ben?
Dan Amanda, Eliza Amanda, let's go. Oh Lord, forgive me, Amen. When someone I can survive this, but I just Yeah, so that was the short disaster reel. As of obviously it wasn't going according to plan. At some point I was teaching, I just couldn't help myself. I just keep laughing. But I think that's the point where it's interesting because some students that I never heard their voice before, they make a point to unmute themselves just to laugh. They don't say anything else, they just laugh. So I felt that was really funny. And then after that, they were more inclined to talk to me, to ask questions. So when teaching Photoshop this way, I feel like they had fun. And also I had fun because I laughed a lot. Sometimes dah lah, this class is during bulan Ramadan most of the time. So I was like dry by the end of it. Just keep laughing. And the submission was hilarious. So a point to make here is that class activities like this don't have marks. So they don't have to do a good job actually. They just have to make me laugh a lot and each other laugh a lot. So, but what I found out that this really increased morale in class. They feel like they want to learn more. They feel like, okay, I want to see what my friends submit today because I told them you can submit, but you cannot see your other friends' submission. So I want everyone to have the same. So this I got the idea from the reaction videos where YouTubers react to, the current issues or viral videos. So I wanted to react to their submission and that was well received as well. So I was really having fun with that. Yeah. So in short, I would just like to say that this is my teaching philosophy, which I really believe since day one. And it is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy and creative expression in knowledge. And I think like this teaching approach, you can apply to any of your classes. And I feel like energy is very infectious. If you're happy to talk, I'm happy to see you here today. If you give that point, you exude that kind of energy, the students will pick up and they will also do the same. They will want to go to class because Miss Tasha is looking forward to meeting me, things like that. So that alone can help a lot. Yeah. So I feel like I still have some time. So I'm just going to show you a bit on my form. Is that okay? On how I applied for the Magu.
Yes, please, Miss Natasha.
All right. Thank you so much. So, but first I'd like to show this. I hope everybody can see. Let me just open. Yeah, okay. So this is the deskripsi and criteria for Anugerah Pengajaran Transformatif, the category that I applied in. So you guys can read this on your own. You can download it from the Magu website in the Unimas website. So the thing that I want you to pay attention to, and the first thing that I always tell my students also and myself, is that always look at the rubric. As long as you can cover all of the rubric, you are fine. So you need to know here that rational is 10%, pendekatan is 30%, keterlibatan pelajar 30%, and impact ke atas pembelajaran pelajar is 30%. So there's only 4 criteria in this rubric that you really need to hone into, that you really need to emphasize in your form. So the form, the way you fill it in also must really help the panel. And what I mean by that is, let me just move this to the side. Okay, so this was the form that I filled in. This was a year back, so I don't really quite remember. So baru buka pagi tadi, nervous pula nak show ni. Okay, so I feel like what I did was, yes, so I just fill in accordingly and don't force it. That's the number one thing I feel like the panel can pick up. If you force an explanation, like you're trying to make it bombastic, you're trying to make it all more than it is, it's very easy to detect. It's very easy to find out because the evidence will show. So I feel like even though you keep it simple, but you keep it straightforward and true to your objective is fine. So that's what I did. And because like I said, I'm a new lecturer, so I don't have much experience. So I just became very truthful. I don't have much experience, but this is something I feel like I can cover. So I filled it in very simply. And then I think the biggest tip that I can give you is that when it comes to the category of evidence, yes, to make it easier for the panel, put the link in the form. There is no rules against it because you only see that there's tidak melebihi 200 patah perkataan. That's it that you see. So post in the link. So it's easier for the panel. And I don't advise to use QR code. The reason why is that even if you look at this form using the phone, that means you need to scan the QR code through your phone, or you need another phone for those who are not familiar, then it's really hard. Or even if you use your own laptop, to have a laptop or a screen in front of you and then you have to scan your phone, that's another added, I would say, tedious task for the panel. So the easiest way to get in their favor, this is a cheeky bit, yeah, to get in their favor is just to put the link there. They can just click on it and then it directly goes to the evidence that you're talking about. And not only that, to make it clearer, you can put photos. Then it's easier for the panel to see directly on the form because there's no rules against photos as well. It just says tidak melebihi 100 patah perkataan. That's it. So if you have images, you have charts, you have posters, for example, of your talk, of your students' engagement, by all means, put it in there because there is no amount limit for images. So just put it in there. Yeah. So I think that is the biggest thing I've learned from the seniors. And then at the end, most important is to give your students testimonial. It doesn't have to be a video testimonial. It can only be a recording. It also can be just a Google form that they fill in. That is fine as well. Then they can link there. And I think it's a good idea to spend some time to invest in, if you're not sure about how to edit videos, you can invest in an editor who can help you to compile your highlights reel. Because I feel like that gives a very nice trailer for your class. For example, the disaster reel, or that I showed you just now, was the trailer for my digital media class. So when new students come in, I show them that reel and instantly they're excited. So that is something extra that you can do for your students, but I feel like that's very beneficial as well. Yeah. And then at the end, I think, I'm not sure how it is now, but it has to be a physical signature. So you cannot use a digital signature. So make sure you print out the page and then sign it physically, and your dean should sign it physically as well. Then submit it with your form because I think I got a hiccup on this when I applied. I used a digital sign. So yeah, just to let you all know so that it's easier. I'm not sure if it's still the same way, Dr. Maslina. Is it still like this? Like you need the physical signature, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
we are
yeah.
using the similar form, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, that's good thing to note. At least you guys don't have to go back and forth like I did last time. So that is yeah, that's extra. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it for me today. A very short sharing session actually. I talk very fast, so I apologize. But if
No
you guys have any
problem.
questions, you can do
Is there
so.
any question for Miss Natasha? This is very interesting.
Thank you.
Your sharing is insightful and beneficial as well. And I'm glad that we able to see what is your project and your initiative that you've done in your class. And then basically, Miss Natasha, for the transformative, it's normally we receive many application.
Wow.
So that is why normally the what we call the panel, the evaluator will carefully rating, okay, and details and doing the evaluation. So normally we receive many application for the transformative, and then they are trying to choose the best one to become the award receiver for the MAGU. But for the level of faculty, normally the faculty will choose the receiver. It's not CAM. CAM is only become the coordinator for
Mm,
the result only, right?
yes.
So I think I would like to add tips for the future potential applicant. Please ensure your project or your initiative is fall under transformative. Please do not make mistake dalam memilih kategori that you would like to join. Okay, so kadang-kadang ada yang supposedly under immersive learning, tetapi mereka try to apply for the transformative. But normally transformative is very competitive lah. So please make sure you understand the definition of transformative teaching and learning and the other category as well, so that it's easy for you to become award winner ataupun receiver lah for that particular year. And then for that particular category. That is the tips lah. All right. So I think that's all for the slot of transformative. Thank you very much, Miss Natasha.
Thank you.
I hope
Thank you.
that with the sharing from Miss Natasha, you have the idea how to create your portfolio in order for you to apply and participate in the transformative teaching LME. All right. So thank you, Miss Natasha. I would like to invite Encik Alif Kamal to share in his project and initiative regarding alternative assessment. And Encik Alif and his team also received a Magung, right, in the year of 2022. So over to you, Encik Alif.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Can my voice be heard, Dr. Mazlina?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, all right, very good. So I would like to share my screen. Give me a few minutes. Okay, right. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Salam ini masku sayang. First and foremost, I would definitely love to praise highly to the two presenters that have been doing and been showcasing such brilliant jobs. Hopefully that I will be on par with them. Dr. Devagi with the portfolio design is very, very beautiful. Saya tengok pun macam kata, wow, never thought that we can do it like that. And then to Miss Natasha, the initiative, the Naruto tinggi, I think the one we might have quite similar interests as well on that one lah, cosplaying and whatnot lah. Okay, alright. So really, really happy that what we have been doing have been received well by the students kan. Sometimes kita bersyarah-bersyarah, orang selalu kata shock sendiri behind the screen when dealing with the students during the entirety of the virtual and online era. So hopefully that what I'll be showcasing today will be of some beneficial on how we get there, okay? How we are able to be there, and then what can our things can help to actually propel the other lecturers and educators in boosting and enhancing the teaching and learning experience. Now, escaping the norm with mathematics engagement session, partially is the word escaping is due to the concept that we are using is basically on escape room as well. Truth to be told, the moment that we get a hold into this idea of doing our alternative assessment is purely by accident. Okay, it's not of a full and thorough plan. It's just entirety of a lot of eureka and coincidental moment, but we try to make it a realization ataupun realistic way of doing things lah. So nurturing your dreams is what we have over here in Pusat Pengajian Pra University. Over at Asasi ataupun dekat kampus Timur or kampus lama kita, very very nice surrounding. So first and foremost, definitely love to display and congratulate and also be grateful to have such a wonderful team working behind the scene. Definitely, these are the people that I need to convince first when going into a ride in this idea gila. Nak buat escape room lah, nak buat game itu, nak buat game ini, and especially in the field of mathematics, it is never easy. Mathematics and abstractness, dryness is always kata apa, hand in hand with each other. Kita cakap pasal differentiation and then we can actually see the curve, we can see the graph, what's under the graph, but it's not what other people can see. Partially is because of not being in the field ataupun not having an interest with the maths itself. Jadi when we are trying to deal with educational tinggi or social science tinggi into this mathematics field, if you are not strong and persistent enough with what you want to do atau want to create for the benefit of the public or the audience, then you need to buckle up and then be really, really well prepared. Okay, these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 orang yang saya kena yakinkan dahulu sebelum saya nak buat apa-apalah with the course itself. Because we've been sharing the course, definitely if I say that why don't we try to do this thing kan? These are the 10 people that will be in the boat together, so sink or swim memang together as well lah. Jadi alhamdulillah been blessed with such good members, and then they are willing to listen. Don't treat the students like lab rats. Itu adalah benda-benda yang selalu kita dengar. And then finally, we have achieved a lot in our course from kata orang apa, so far from the main campus kan, from the east campus side, being able to show to provide and contribute some impactful thing to Unimas has always been a good experience and journey through our career as well. Now, to start things off, before kita directly go and into what is the alternative assessment, transitioning to e-learning during the pandemic era is basically the thing. Okay, it is the thing back then in 2019, 2020. Jadi being a STEM-based course and then making this huge leap to the online ataupun full e-learning environment has been very, very tedious. Okay, and then the tediousness of this thing, right, when we try to do a case study on it and then publish this particular journal and paper, promote papers sekejap lah. When we try to publish this particular academic article, it receives very, very high audience and reads across the globe, because I think there's a lot of people out there facing the exact similar situation as us. Jadi this is no longer a very specific problem in pre-university or asasi anymore. As we can see in the degree level or the master's level of today, a lot of courses, a lot of programs is facing huge crowd. Definitely, when we're talking about huge crowd, one class consists of more than 100 people, and then throughout the entirety of the course, there might be more than 500 up to 1,000 and even more than 1,000 audience or students undertaking our particular course. And then that is a problem. Okay, imagine that we are trying to do a written-based assessment or the usual report or individual reports. So we are facing about 1,000 plus submission, different ways of writing, and in the era of today, different AI is used to actually produce those submissions and deliverables. So we would like to change the game plan. Okay, we definitely love to switch things up and then try to achieve something better. And then specifically to our course, we have this particular two really killing CLOs. I think this CLOs thing is not something new to each and every one of us over here, but teaching mathematics and then you are trying to assess CLO3 and CLO4, which consists of affective domain. Now that is something huge and something surprising. We are trying to incorporate this communication and teamwork for CLO3 and then professionalism at the same time in CLO4. Jadi we are talking about mathematics, ddx ataupun x square equal to 0, x plus y equals to 10, trying to solve that thing in paper. Now trying to incorporate or trying to deal with communication, teamwork, leadership, all these affective domains, it's definitely worth the struggle. So how can we do this, and then how can we try to assess this component, these affective domain components? Now back then, during our face-to-face era, we can simply ask students to do things like on this screen now. Simply let them write something and then present something. Then you get your communication, you get presentation, teamwork, and also professionalism, everything one go. Now try to shift that into virtual setting. We have a lot of trouble, and then we have a much broader problem that is needed to be tackled with. So a lot of our time when trying to come up with assessment, and in particular is alternative assessment in university, pre-university level, is always in this scope of thinking. Huge crowd, huge leap, and then huge CLOs. Out of all the available options in online back then, when I said that we have some sort of an eureka moment, basically, what what I always try to do and then try to sort out with my team is trying to find what is the relevant assessment that can actually cater the things that we need to really assess or try to get in line with the course content itself, and also with what a lot of this MQF tinggi, the requirement of the center or the faculty itself, and then where we should park our assessment and whatnot. So at the end of the day, when trying to look around in the internet, I come across with a lot of these suggested online-based or virtual setting activities, and one of it is none other than Mr. Chua Kiman's channel himself, where he promoted escape room in different courses. And then at that particular time, what we found out in the YouTube video is for the history class, history subject in SPM level. Now that is something kita kata, oh okay, kita dapat buat escape room and then menggunakan mata pelajaran sejarah. Now that is really an eye-opening an eureka moment lah to me lah as well. With also my friends during that time when I tried to pitch in the idea of using escape room, and then it turns out to be when we try to go a little bit beyond the idea of using.
Sorry,
Yes,
Shelly.
Doctor.
We don't see your video.
Video, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
we don't see your video. Yeah.
I turn off the video, so dia kata dekat sini ada kata apa, ada a little
Okay,
bit
okay. No
lagging and
problem, no
CPU
problem.
di sana.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dr. Mazlina. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that one. Tiba-tiba ada sudden turn off lah. Okay, so I just turn off this video for a while. Maybe after this I try to open it back and see whether the CPU is okay again or not. Okay, so going back to what we have discussed just now, kan, when we try to go back into the publication, the academic world, it seems that the idea of using escape room is already there. Okay, kita somehow might be a little bit lagging behind. Partially is because of there is no necessities or no motivation among ourselves to even try to do the escape room as well. Because sometimes when we try to do this new TNL techniques delivery, we need to consider a lot of resources, a lot of thoughtfulness, opportunity, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's on time or maybe not yet. So that's why we don't actually try to do it. But then again, when it comes to the pandemic or the PKP era, we are left with so little choice. We are left with so little room to play, pun intended. We need to find something. We need to try to do something so that our audience will still be there with us. Maybe not fully 1,000 plus people, but it's okay already if we can try to do something that can cater maybe 500 to 600 to 700 of them. That is the number of our usual crowd in Asasi over here. So we come across with a lot of this thing. For me myself, this core drive of gamification is something that I've seen during my PGDip Unimas days. So if there's people that's trying to tell us kan, why do I need to attend PGDip, and then why the PGDip is so tough, why PGDip is like this and like that kan, I always try to share to a lot of people. There's so many things that we can get from the PGDip courses in Unimas specifically, and then a lot of those activities, those concepts, those philosophy, we can actually do it anytime, anywhere, anyhow. It really depends on what we want to do and how we want to do it the right way. So this core drive of gamification is what been taught in the PGDip course. And it is very, very fascinating that when you try to do gamification in your courses for activity or assessment purposes, these are the guideline that we can actually rely on. Okay, there is a epic meaning, accomplishment with different scopes, different meaning behind them. But the best thing about this is we can actually just simply use some, or if not all, or maybe one or two drives, and we can actually achieve better to do gamification or gamifying our teaching and learning activities. So this one, this is just the reference that I put over there is actually a blog by this Mr. Yu Kai Cho. If you can just go and Google @core drive of gamification, you definitely see this in your Google searches, and it is very easy to find out, quite hard to miss. Can give it a read, and then maybe can try to implement it somewhere along the line. So basically, what is the platform of our choice for doing this alternative assessment? Now, because this assessment is not our first submission to the Teaching Excellence and also MAGU, we have tried to submit a few portfolios before. So the way that we do our assessment, we always have this end goal where we compile everything right and then try to submit it to Teaching Excellence or even MAGU. So for our project, which is the mathematics engagement session or the escape room itself, we submitted it to PITRAM. That is an pertandingan inovasi antara asasi di Malaysia. So we already have the idea of when we try to do these things, we need to compile a lot of the documents later. So going through my slides, it seems that this thing is well planned from our end. It's because of the experience of submitting more than one submission before lah. Okay, so generally is our intended platform over here, and then why do we choose generally is basically this is what a new thing that we would like definitely love to learn, and then maybe at the end of the day we can use it later for different purposes. I will show at the end of this session that we don't actually stop in our mathematics engagement session project only, but which we also apply the same concept to a different project, just as an added and extra of this presentation for today. But generally is a good platform. It's an online web-based platform, means that everyone can collaborate, but the only downside is when one person is editing the platform as opposed to Canva, the one that have been shown by Dr. Devagi earlier, AP Dr. Devagi, that is Canva. Generally is more like more towards the presentation based web based application. So it's more like Microsoft PowerPoint and Prezi. So the only downside is we cannot work together at one time. That is the only downside of it compared to Canva and the rest. So basically, if I'm trying to work on things in this general platform, the rest have to wait until I close the web-based app, and then the others can go and try to do it. So this is how the web browser looks like when we are setting up our escape room. Don't worry, I will demonstrate a little bit how does it look like later in the real environment. What does the student will see, and then how is it played, just for a short demonstration only. But this one is how the studio or the how does it look like when we try to set up the escape room for this particular alternative assessment. So we have the slides on the left, and then the full canvas on the right side where we can just put in things, write stuffs. But basically the idea when we try to do escape room, because it is called escape room because you need to escape from it. So we need to put a little background story, and then some nervousness, some thriller, some horror, mystery fragment into the story itself, so that the students will be immersed with the scenario. Means that they don't go into this escape room and then just seeing mathematics equation from start until the end. That will definitely kill the mood, and then it will be potentially destroy the escape room feeling for the audience and the student as well. So this one, the story itself is designed by our lecturers from the team as well, the team of 10 people. We never thought that among us there is someone with a good story writing capacity, and then there are some more people with good visual and designing skills. So basically, if you have a team, then it's always nice to have this mix of out of the area of expertise skill, designing, story writing, storytelling, game engine, and a lot more. So kita punya tema or the mathematic engagement session is using the full title, the main theme, as the mathematician. It's because we would like to make it a pun from mathematician, so it's a mathematician. Make it a little bit more horror specific or more mysterious and thriller based kind of genre. So put some crazy mathematician at the back to support the students' journey to escape from being a captive. But all in all, despite the story and also the background of the scenario that we put the students in, the content wise, the dry, the not so fun part, which is the content, the science based or mathematics content is put along the way of when the students try to complete the game or the escape room itself. So we divide it into two parts over here, where we have a first part is consisting purely on the escape room, where the students will be put into the time or into the place, the scenario where they have to find clues, find the keys, unlock stuffs, and then put in password. But for them to get there, they need to answer mathematics related problem. There are some mathematics problem that is very abstract, like the one we have in the question number 2 up there, which is just mathematical inequality. And there are some application or concept based where they need to fill in the blank by writing the answer, spelling the things out lah. And there's a second part of this escape room where the student need to submit something. So why do we do an extra part for this particular escape room based assessment is because we need to go back to the real reason or objective. That is, we need to cater two main course learning outcome, where the first part consists of the communication and teamwork, and then the second part is the professionalism. Now, in mathematics, the professionalism is actually a little bit different than the standard soft skill based professionalism. In mathematics, we can actually see the professionalism by looking at the rigor, the mathematic rigor, ataupun kita kata kewajaran penulisan. Maksudnya skema jawapan dia kena betul-betul mathematically oriented. It's not full of writing errors or typos or maksud matematiknya lari, become macam tu. Jadi that is the second part where we need the group of students submit the answer scheme. So that's why there are two parts in this escape room. Now, to actually assess the communication as well as the teamwork, we need some sort of evidence from the students. Now, again, we have such a huge crowd, and then because this is an alternative assessment, so we don't want the student to actually attend the assessment like they attend tests or examination or online quizzes. We basically give them a room, a duration, maybe 3 days or maybe 1 week, where they need to plan with their group mates when and where do you want to do and complete the escape room and submit the answer of the second part via ELIP. Hence, to actually achieve this, we require the student to actually conduct the escape room session online and perform via MS Teams. Now, over at our Center of Pre-University Studies, MS Teams is the main platform used for online based study and deliverables. Okay. Other than ELIP, we only use MS Teams for our live lecture, for our synchronous activity, and also for recording and also submissions. So that's why we are using MS Teams. For the students that actually have maybe technical difficulties, our lab during that time, it is open. From case to case basis, we will open as much as possible to cater the student for their needs of conducting the assessment related to ICT and digital based submission. So MS team, other than that, they just need to sit back at their college room, which these three lady students over here at different places during one time need to discuss what is the answer in their screen shared by the reader, and then the whole process is recorded and submitted via their group MS team. So the group MS team is prepared by the lecturers for the whole cohort of the student during that particular year. Okay, so in this slide, this is basically how does the escape room looks like, right? So there's the full screen button, but I think this is already in full screen based presentation. So this is MES1 part 1. Now the number 1 in the MES over here, the Mathematics Engagement Session 1, means that there are 2 episodes where we brief our student earlier on the CLO3 and CLO4 submission for this particular course. Okay, so there is an instruction over here, very, very simple instruction so that the student know that they need to find their way through. So they will click the start button, and then this is basically the storyline of the student waking up and then finding themselves trapped and kidnapped. But we don't use those words directly inside the slide because it might be a little bit too gory and too negative for certain students. So we try to avoid using negative words and then just put a bare minimum on the situation. So the last thing that you remember is returning from mathematics class where you learn about equation, polynomials, and sequences. Now, this small introduction paragraph is basically to jolt the student mind, to get back them on their track that they need to know about equation, polynomials, and sequences to basically go through this particular escape room stage. So it's just a small kind of a small trigger for the students to get them on track with the learning unit content addressed by this particular problem. Now, this is an example of the question. Now, looking at this particular slide, it is quite the common quiz-based from what we usually see in different platform, Kahoot, kadang-kadang ELIP pun macam ni, and then maybe just a simple slide. But there is a slight different where we actually put a hint. This particular hint says that the second last letter of the word success. Being the students themselves in a group of 5, sometimes when they go and directly see this particular slide, out of all those 10 eyes looking at this particular slide, there might be 1 or 2 or 3% noticing about this hint, and then this hint is not related to the mathematics at all. Okay, so those kind of students that notice this early, they will somehow get this hint and then put it somewhere, because this hint is basically the password to unlock from stage 1 and then going to another different stage or different level for the student to complete and progress through this escape room. If they don't remember, then they need to repeat the whole process, resulting in extra timing and also extra hassle during their work. So it really depends. We receive both types of submission. There are group yang nampak soalan, mereka terus fokus jawab. Memang group pelajar-pelajar yang cemerlang, nampak soalan jawab, nampak soalan jawab. There are group yang might be scared with mathematics, then they will notice about the second last letter of the word success, or ada hint pelik lah, then they will notice the friends and the groups. I think this answer is, I kind of try to see first what happen if we click on the wrong answer. Now, because generally it's just like a presentation slide, the usual one that we see from PowerPoint and Prezi, so there is no way for us to actually catch how many wrong answers that the student provide during the entirety of the process. it is only captured during their recording in the MS Team itself. But otherwise, the way we can penalize the students during this particular assessment is basically looking at the total duration of time that they need to complete the whole escape room session. So by actually putting something like this, getting a wrong answer, then you need to repeat and start from the beginning. It will increase the duration of the students in completing this assessment. So that is where we can actually put some negative marks in the group communication and project. I think the answer should be more than and less than, because this one about that much. So when they answered one question, so for this MES one, we don't put any reaction or any sorts of a different slide in the middle of the question, because we would like to make the students familiarize with the escape room concept. So when they get the correct answer, then they will input the correct answer or select the right answer. This is MCQ based, and then them getting the hint is basically like a tutorial session of how to do the escape room based activity. So they will keep on answering this question, getting the right or wrong answer. So this is an example of how they get the second question wrong. Then they need to repeat the question again. The students do not know, they will actually see the exact similar question. So maybe some of their friends will notice it with good observation skill and with being more alert than their friends. They will notice and then they will start to pre-plan their actions. Okay, kita punya soalan ni sebenarnya semua sama. Jadi in the event that kita salah, kita kena tengok balik apa yang jawapan dalam langkah kerja yang kita dah siapkan tadi. So these sorts of communication difference ability in the students is what we can actually cater in the MES or the project itself. So I will just skip that MES1. This is an example of MES2. Maybe if we have some time later, then I will show the directly at the generally setup, so that we can actually see how does it look like in the system, because that is basically what we have in this the assessment itself, just being the escape room with the submission at the end. Okay, so now I think that we have opened up the generally. Now CPU should be in a much cooler and then much better performance, because this one now it's easier. It's just going to give a little bit gambaran on what does we have in our portfolio. Now directly looking at this overview in the slide presented on the screen, these are the tedious part, because part A and part B is basically what is our name and then who is actually involved and what is the title project. So I don't need to cover that one. But looking at the synopsis, sessional project, pendekatan, keterlibatan, I understand what Miss Natasha means in her presentation before. Looking at the form kan, we will feel overwhelmed. Apa nak isi ya? Ataupun is this at the right place? And then what should I include? And then should I do this? Should I do that? So maybe hopefully that from our experience before, I can share and then make people a little bit less intimidated to submit things to their deans and deputy deans or directors and deputy director lah. Sebab kadang-kadang ada certain group yang mereka disuruh ataupun dipertanggungjawabkan untuk menghantar. Mungkin ada yang seronok nak menghantar kerana they achieve something, they receive good feedback, testimony, they would like to definitely try. So hopefully that this presentation can help leverage some of those pressure and tense when trying to complete the portfolio. Now going to the first part, the synopsis. Kita punya borang magu dia dekat dalam bahasa Melayu, borang teaching excellence dia dalam bahasa orang putih. Jadi last kita kata kalau bahasanya orang putih, kita orang putihkan isi dia. Bila dia bahasa Melayu dekat header dia, kita pun Melayukanlah header dia. Jadi there will be a little bit mixture of language over here, but I think everyone will be able to catch the idea lah. Now first and foremost, the synopsis or the summary. A lot of time when we read through what should we write in the synopsis or summary, based on our experience, no need to beat around the bush, more into the straightforward manner, but not too straightforward. Sebab kalau kita terlalu straightforward as well, people do not know what we are actually trying to do because they are not in our course, they are not a part of our team. So the panels, the examiners, they do not know, they have zero idea, totally blank slate on what we are trying to do with our student. So when we try to write synopsis, we must make sure that we include the implementation and the inventiveness. That's it. Because when you go and directly put the implementation, then the panel will know how we do it. When we incorporate the inventiveness, then we can actually showcase the novelty and the innovation of our initiative. Jadi the three keywords that I use over there is the execution, the uniqueness, and also the benefits. Because the form also just what Miss Natasha shown before, right? And also Dr. Devagi, kan? Tidak melebihi 200 patah perkataan. So we need to be really, really concise on what we are trying to write so that we don't also over explain stuff or under explain some stuff. Okay, this is an example of what we wrote, but this one is just the kata pembuka lah. But I think the kata pembuka over here actually spells a lot of things. Directly go and jump what we try to do. Mathematic engagement session merupakan penaksiran apa, and then dia jenisnya apa, and then dia dibuat bagaimana, kemudian apakah hasilnya, dan kenapa kita buat benda ni, dan apa yang pelik mengenai kita punya alternative assessment ataupun the assessment practice itself. So during our writing, it will be a little bit more straightforward and easy to understand. Something like in our previous submission, which is a problem solving session, is an assessment, continuous assessment based on problem-based learning. Now, if the panel will get the idea, oh, maksudnya this PSS punya thing is based on PBL. They know what is PBL because they are the panel, they are the experts. The next thing will be, why is it different than the PBL? Okay, so it's different from PBL because we conduct is like this and then we do it like this. Oh, okay, now you say that it is different. So how does it impact or change our students' perception? That will be the last part of this tidak melebihi 200 patah perkataan. So that will give a good idea to our panel, and then when the panel get the idea, then it will be much easier for them to support our submission. Okay, moving along, after part C, which is the synopsis, part D adalah dia punya rational project ataupun the project rationale. Now, the project rationale consists of two parts, which is the learning issue and the philosophy. Again, when we try to read this instruction, we might be confused ourselves. But this is not only in Unimas case, because last time when we try to submit for ACRI, ACRI is a little bit higher, that is on the Malaysian KPT level of submission and deliverables. The content of the form or the submission is almost exactly similar. So I think CAM has been doing such a good job to make us familiarize with how the portfolio is arranged so that we can see how far we can go. Maybe today, maybe this year is not our year, so next year we will try again. Maybe in next couple of years we do even better things using the latest technology and trends, and then we submit it for teaching excellence, go up one notch, go to Magu, go another notch, go to ACRI. Jadi it will be a good transition and a very smooth, I say it's quite flawless transition as well. So the learning issue over here, in the event that we are not exactly sure what it is, this is what is it that we want to tackle. We need to clearly highlight that what is the main problem of dealing with our student in terms of the assessment practice. Okay, we usually do it in online quiz manner, we usually do presentation, research based. Now we try to do something different or innovative. Why we want to do that? Because we already have concrete, stable, reliable assessment, but suddenly we want to try, we want to innovate something new. We must be able to clearly highlight what is the potential issue and then what we can actually do to improve ataupun which part need the improvement. to actually cater this particular submission or deliverables. So the next part will be on the philosophy. What is the theory or the concept used, and how do we use or implement the theory and the philosophy of teaching that is actually used. Now, this is a quite unpopular opinion, but I think a lot of people will agree. For me, myself, being a computational science and mathematics graduate, I have almost zero idea what is teaching philosophy. What is the andragogy, pedagogy, cybergogy, connectivism, constructivism? There's a lot of these things, and then I have zero idea how this is taught. Back then, during my time when started appointed in Unimas and in Asasi, I still remember the first few bengkel or workshop conducted by Professor Madya, Dr. Ashley, going over to our site over in East Campus, started talking about what is student-centered learning, what is problem-based learning. Memang macam apa benda tu, kenapa benda ni, apa beza yang sangat, why is it like that, why is it not like this kan. Jadi we lack somewhere in the theoretical and conceptual part. And then suddenly we are called by CAM and also by kita punya atasan to go attend this Unimas PGD HETL. Finally we discover, and then we suddenly have a kit. It's not exactly a kitab lah, but we suddenly have a mazhab and kitab that we can rely upon to look out for what sort of theory, what sort of principle, what sort of concept and framework that we can follow to actually try to innovate our teaching and learning process. Sometime along the line kita mungkin dah menggunakan teori dan konsep yang canggih-manggih macam connectivism, cybergogy, tapi we never realize it because we don't have the knowledge. So Unimas PGD HTL is a good platform where we actually go into this sudden realization moment, say saya dah buat rupanya benda ni, tinggal nak kumpul, tinggal nak compile, the two magic case lah. Another one thing that another also quite unpopular opinion bila kita diberikan amanah ataupun tanggungjawab dekat kita punya PTJ, awak kena apply Unimas Hotel. Cycle bulan ni, cycle kedua, cycle keempat, cycle ke berapa entah. Jadi when we try to do this Sotel because of arahan and instruction, that is also another point where we can actually find out more philosophy, more learning and teaching theory, practices and so on. So it's always a good platform. Okay, so andai kata anda di luar sana adalah yang sedang ataupun yang akan menghadiri ataupun melaksanakan Unimas PGD or Unimas Hotel, take it with open heart, and then I'm sure that if teaching and learning is one of your passion like we do, it will become one of the biggest bridges towards this Teaching Excellence Award, MAGU and etc. Okay, so basically, if we jump over to the borang or the form itself, there is a D1 and D2 kan. So the D1 is on the learning issue. This is what we wrote before in our form. If we have some time later, maybe we can showcase what we have fully written. Again, it's tidak melebihi beberapa perkataan. So we need to be really, really concise, need to address exactly what we are trying to deal with using our alternative assessment or assessment practices. Situasi pandemik ini, etc., etc., pelajar kurang minat, ni semua apa itu ini. Sometimes it might be self-driven. I mean, like kadang-kadang this learning issue might be designed by the lecturers, educators itself. But truth to be told, 99% it is real. Although we say that pelajar kurang minat lah dengan kursus tertentu, pelajar tak bermotivasi, although sometimes that theoretically speaking, yes, it is like that, but maybe in realistically, they are very, very keen towards this particular course or subject. But truth to be told, if we write it like here, like it is over in the form kan, it is realistic. It is never going overboard. Jadi we know that all this problem exists all the time. So we just need to highlight which one that is tackled. Okay, jadi the D2 part is where we highlight the philosophy implemented in our project. So in our case, it is gamification. So very, very a clear issues and philosophies that we are trying to highlight in our submission. So next part is going to be the approach. The approach is still again inside the form itself ada letakkan perkataan is it original or is it an adaptation. Just be frank with what we are trying to do. Sometimes we think that ini benda baru lah ni, tak mungkin lah ada orang buat. But in reality is there is somewhere out there that it is based upon. So never be shy ataupun run away if we are actually adapting that idea and then innovate it into something else, because it is still very unique. It's still for uniquely designed for our student, uniquely designed or created for our class, uniquely used for our CLOs. Jadi it will always be unique. So never shy away from the fact that we are adapting a lot of this theoretical and concept. Implementation wise, the easy keyword over here is just methodology, but there is another two magic word, which is a transferability and scalability. Sometimes our project is very, very simple. Okay, it is very simple. Kita sendiri pun tahu, alamak dia simple sangat sebenarnya, tapi kita kena hantar. But no matter how simple it is still transferable and scalable. It's just need kita saja yang kena orang kata menghadirkan rasa yang dia boleh pergi lebih jauh. Okay, a lot of time kita dekat asasi always reminded by the experts from faculties that soalan exam dan juga assessment anda adalah produk anda. So you must be proud of your product, no matter how simple or how easy it is. Okay, and last but not least is when we are asked with what is the meaningful learning experience of our approach, the keyword that we need to use is always relevance. Okay, and then when we're talking about relevance, if we go for the KBAT concept ataupun kemahiran berfikiran aras tinggi, it will definitely help to boost our form as well. So our form consists of C, D, E, F, G. So I think we are almost soon to be lah. This is part E, and after this is F and G, two more parts. This is how we write for our magu, because it's bahasa Melayu is magu. So kalau dia bahasa Melayu ni memang penulisan untuk magu lah ni. MAS adalah pentaksiran yang diadaptasi. Never shy away. We just simply say it out loud. It's adapted, and then it's just change. The content is just change. And then pendekatan ini diterapkan bagi meningkatkan mutu dan variasi penafsiran khusus bagi STEM. Usually STEM, quiz, exam, lab. Jadi kita upgrade dia sikit, kita letak ada presentation ke ada apa kan. So in our event during the PKP ada escape room. Now that's something new. So it's already have something different directly into the methodology itself. And last but not least is going to be the relevance. Setiap langkah dia ambil dalam jawab persoalan matematik ni, pelajar akan berbincang dan mereka akan membuat justifikasi. This is how we highlight the relevance of the mathematical skills that the students have to actually cater the approach itself. Now, on to the next part. This is the second last part where we start to incorporate evidence. We cannot simply talk based on our opinion and also based on our observation. It's not enough. We need evidence. So starting from F dengan G, the process become really, really hard. Because if we pre-plan it, that is okay. But if we don't plan for it and then suddenly we are asked to compile for it, then it might be a little bit harder, but it is not impossible as well. I still remember that the first time that we submit something for teaching excellence back a couple years ago before the pandemic hit, we really macam skirmish around, and then suddenly we have to, hantar WhatsApp balik dengan our last cohort just to get some input from them to fulfill maybe last couple parts in our form. Part G itu tak ada satu dua bahagian yang memang tak ada isi langsung, so we just need to contact them back. But our students is very, very good. Unima students, being them, I know they always love to help their lecturers, given that we communicate with them on daily basis, minta isi survey dan sebagainya lah. So this one is for student engagement. Student engagement lagi susah untuk kita tengok kan, ada cognitive abilities, motor abilities, affective, macam mana nak isi ni pula. And then ada reflective learning, ada active learning. Tapi I think today is very easy. We can just go to ChatGPT and then ask ChatGPT, what does it mean by meaningful learning experience? What does it mean by reflective learning? So it can help. Alright, so these are the keywords that I have found out during the entirety of our assessment submission. Meaningful learning experience, that one is from the form kognitif, psikomotor, efektif, bukan cakap kosong, kena ada bukti. Kemudian reflective learning, kita kena minta feedback or responses. Kalau terlambat, tak apa, konteks saja student kita balik. And then on the active learning is we need to see our students engage. Now, how is that? Okay, so the EEE kat sana, saya lupa tukar. Okay, I didn't attach the writing of the form itself over here because it purely based on the evidence. So later kita akan tengok only at the evidence. So the last part in the form is the impact on teaching learning. Dia ada impact on the performance of knowledge, on the performance of relevant skill, and also on the attitude or the social skills of the student. Now there's a lot of these things yang kita kata, alamak, mana nak korek, mana nak letak, apa yang nak letak. CLO achievement dekat dalam my class nak letak kat mana ni? Yang markah dekat dalam my class pula nak isi dekat mana? Siapa pergi ke siapa? Siapa yang akan support siapa? Jadi ini adalah perasaan kita bila kita buat benda-benda berkaitan dengan this particular submission lah. So basically to start thing off, ada part F dengan ada part G. Part F yang tadi, part G adalah yang ini. So terus terang saja kata, untuk part G, when we are trying to assess the knowledge, we are trying to assess relevant skills, ini are the only two parts that we can attach kita punya CLO achievement report. Jangan letak ke tempat lain. Ini dua sahaja yang memang totally relevant with our CLO report. Because our CLO report directly kepada CLO kita kognitif, that is knowledge. Kalau CLO kita effective, that is relevant skill. Now kalau kita assess relevant skill, effective domain, now kita tak ada pula dia punya sumber untuk see dia punya cognitive enhancement, where can we find it? So we have to go back to the classroom and then go find out where do we ask the relevant LU in this particular assessment. So untuk assessment kami tadi, dia ada beberapa LU tadi. Kita go and cari saja dekat orang kata dekat quiz-quiz yang kita dah buat, and then kita terus ambilkan sahaja markahnya. This is an example of kita kata students punya submission kepada kita. So the good thing about this is when the students submitted to us, this is a very short video lah, just to showcase. There's an MS team over at the right side, and then there's a shared screen in the middle by the group leader. Bila student submit kita yang macam ni, ini terus exactly become kita punya evidence. Okay, and then this particular evidence we can go and attach it towards our bahagian component untuk F, which is the student engagement ataupun the impacts on teaching and learning part G. Tapi kita kena kata orang apa, kena korek lah untuk tengok which part yang relevant dalam video tersebut ataupun dalam submission tersebut untuk di-attach dengan kita punya borang tersebut. Ini adalah contoh untuk evidence yang mana kita tengok video student ni buat aktiviti ni, kita rasa student ni dia memberikan reaksi dekat seperti begitu dekat screen, dan kita crop bahagian ini, kita ambil lah yang ni, jadi kita punya evidence for one of the student engagement and also student impact on the teaching and learning. From our observation itself, we can see that they are having fun, they are making some sort of body language, saying good things about our assessment. So it's already convincing enough to be attached in our portfolio. But of course, like what Miss Natasha have highlighted before, if you are going to put it in the form of QR, then it will be a little bit tedious. But if you put it on using a link, make sure that the link is clickable, and then always check on all these technical difficulties. These are some of the screenshots from different groups just to showcase or to highlight the engagement part. This is the submission for the second part. These are all just a student sample that we are going to attach also in our form later in the appendix part. Ini adalah the CLO achievement. Also kita attach juga, and then kita buat sedikit citation, rujuk bahagian ini, see bahagian that one. So when we try to compile it, later I will show just how packed it is that we compile all these things. This is the feedback form that we use. Now regarding the feedback form itself, sometimes this is a tricky part for a lot of assessment to cater student motivation and interest. Now when you're talking about students motivation and interest, doing assessment has never been fun. When they do assessment, they will have this pressure and tense feeling. So when we ask for the feedback, if we just simply say, hello, read this activity, and then comment or give suggestion to this activity, we will see mixed review or feedback from the students. Okay, and then suddenly we come to a conclusion: our assessment is actually not that good. At the end of the day, because based on what the students need to say. Now, there's a trick behind here when requesting for students' feedback on or responses. If we are trying to find, okay, so our escape room is actually quite fun. It is quite fun, or if not fun at all, but at least it's fun. So when we try to ask the students for feedback, ask them what made the activity fun. What sort of which stage which is more interesting to you? How does it help you to boost your interest and motivation in completing this assessment? So they will highlight the positive part. Yes, if you would like to highlight the weaknesses of our assessment and our project, just simply go to the next question where we say the assessment is not without any flaw or fault. Suggest to us how we can improve. Jadi student akan disseminate or differentiate two parts of this feedback. One is for the positive one, and then the second part is for the weakness and the improvement that need to be addressed for future initiatives or project. So we need to be by actually making it specific like this, we also help the student to highlight and to do their own self-reflection when completing the assessment itself. Now, this is how we reported our analysis. Okay, because earlier we highlight the 8 core drive of gamification. So we go a little bit beyond of just simply teaching and learning. We do a thematic analysis. That is one of a qualitative analysis method available out there for research purposes. Kalau student bagi kita feedback, permainan ini menyebabkan saya rasa macam menyumbang sesuatu kepada dunia. Kalau dia letak macam tu, so we map it into epic meaning in this particular case. So this is just a research side of things because it is just part and parcel of how we analyze and perform analysis on feedbacks. And this one is really up to the lecturer, but we always found it is very interesting to do this sort of analysis. So this is the whole mapping that we actually attach inside our appendix just to make it more systematic on the way we map it to the 8 core drive of gamification, as well as make it more structured. This one is all very, very easy to be done. It just seems complicated, but it's actually in reality is very easy to be done. And we actually do it on regular basis. Okay, this is just counting the numbers of based on the student feedback. Basically this is how they write inside their feedback form kan. MES memberi perubahan dari segi pengetahuan, tambahan wujud peningkatan ketara, bla bla bla. And then MES ni menarik untuk dilakukan jika bersama dengan ahli yang sama-sama menyumbang dan berusaha. Sebenarnya student ni menyatakan sesuatu lah dekat dalam dia punya message ni. Dia asam mungkin ada group mates dia yang tidak berinteraksi dengan baik, tetapi it's good to know that dia kata benda ni menarik, dan jika ada ahli yang bersama-sama menyumbang, dia akan menjadi lebih kata apa menonjol lagi lah. So some of the extra things that I highlighted because kita berjaya menghasilkan satu escape room penuh untuk kita punya kursus. Jadi semasa kita punya event dekat pusat, untuk kita engage go back to community, kita melaksanakan program science exploration. Saya ingat mungkin that term agak familiar with a lot of people because baru-baru ni ada lagi iklan science exploration untuk tahun ini. Usually science exploration tu adalah aktiviti PTJ untuk kita go back to school and then do activity STEM related to enhance mereka punya kesukaan terhadap STEM. Tetapi waktu pandemik dan PKP, mereka tak dapat datang ke pusat kita buat eksperimen fizik, kimia dan sebagainya. Jadi apa yang berlaku adalah kita buat escape room untuk pelajar-pelajar sekolah ni yang terdiri daripada 102 orang secara online masuk dalam breakout room. Well, the technicality is there, tapi we have the capacity, we have CITDS to help CAM as well, and also our own PTJ punya pegawai-pegawai dalam teknologi maklumat yang berkaitan. But at the end of the day, we say that this escape room is bukan setakat boleh dibuat untuk kursus dan juga assessment, bahkan kita boleh buat untuk aktiviti PTJ as well. Yang ini dia ada kita attach dengan music sekali, and then it's a zombie outbreak, and then ada tema yang lebih kata orang apa, lebih horror lagi sebab dia again dia adalah escape room kan, you need complete stages, and then there's a lot of this. Memang sungguh-sungguh lagi kita buat sebab ini adalah kita deal dengan pihak luar pula kan, jadi it's not as simply buat slide and then dah macam tu je, tak boleh. Kita kena buat sungguh-sungguh lah. Jadi again it is used, and then student sekolah pun rasa menarik lah untuk kata apa, jawab soalan kimia. Ini adalah soalan kimia, ini adalah soalan matematik. Kita ada team yang banyak-banyak expert itu ramai untuk support kita, bagi kita buat a lot of these activities lah. Jadi I think that's about it for my presentation for today. Ending it all, this is a picture yang kita ambil khas untuk penghantaran kita ke Akri tahun lepas, tapi sayangnya kita tidak ada rezeki. Kita tidak ada rezeki, tetapi we will never stop. We keep on doing stuffs. Looking forward to more in the future. So thank you very much to everyone. Hopefully it meet expectation, and hopefully to hear from the floor in the future. Thank you. Go back to
Thank
Dr.
you.
Mazlina.
Thank you, Encik Alif. Thank you for the great sharing and ideas. Okay, ya, insyaAllah kita kena cuba lagi for this. InsyaAllah next year, Encik Alif and team. Never give up. Kita kena give a
InsyaAllah,
second
insyaAllah.
try for Akri. InsyaAllah for AAN as well next year. Thank you for the information. I would like to add on for the form of the anugerah. For your information to all participants yang belum ada pengalaman fulfill the form of anugerah. Actually our form is aligned with the anugerah akademik negara dan juga Akri sebenarnya. So we are following the criteria provided by Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi lah. Jadi so it's easy for the academicians who are intend to apply for the anugerah getting familiar, sebab kita punya target adalah apabila academician submit for the faculty level, we will bring up to the MAGU, UNIMAS level as well as to the national level. So insyaAllah kalau yang berminat nanti, if you have any question, you can ask directly to me lah ya. So thank you very much Encik Alif. So I know that Encik Alif rushing nak pergi airport ya. All the best to Encik Alif untuk you punya competition in Semenanjung kan Encik Alif?
Ya, dekat Kuala Lumpur.
Dekat KL. Okay, thank you very much Encik Alif. So I would like
Thank
to
you.
thank you. I would like to invite the last speaker, Madam Tay, to do the sharing. Over to you, Madam Tay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mazlina. Good morning, everyone. Let
Morning.
me share my
Can you
slide.
turn on your camera, Madam Tay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Madam Tay.
Okay. Can you all see my slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Perhaps you can do the slideshow.
Slide
Yeah.
presentation.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Madam Tay.
So you see the slide presentation now.
Yes. I can see the slide presentation.
Okay. Dr. Mazlina, actually, I'm from the program of medicine, not from the Department of Nursing. Although
Sorry.
I'm also teaching nursing student.
Okay.
It's
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. I got this award in MAGU 2022, but it's academic award for year 2021 in the category of immersive learning experience blended lah. So with the project title Immersive Preclinical Learning Experience During COVID-19 MCO. This is a group project. My slide is not moving. Okay. So this is a group project. We have 7 members with 3 lecturers here. And then the other four are our medical lab technologists who are very talented in video shooting and video editing. So we are very lucky to have them to do most of the video editing for this project. Okay. So during COVID-19 pandemic, this has driven the need for us to be more innovative in the teaching learning assessment method, as our face-to-face interaction is not possible during the MCO time. So in order to cover all the learning domains of the conventional face-to-face teaching, so we have to adopt a multimodal approach which incorporates synchronous, asynchronous, online teaching videos, even the live practical session, discussion, with even a video guided exam, clinical exam here. But when we think about this, we have a problem, especially we try to search all the available YouTube video for the teaching of medical procedure, clinical examination skill, or even the practical skill. We can't really find a suitable one to suit in our clinical setting, our own local laboratory setting as well. So the idea of creating an immersive learning experience in this course using our in-house created videos sparked in my mind at least 3 months before the course start during the COVID MCO. Okay. So I try to call a meeting to meet up with my members to voice out my ideas and then to discuss the detail how to materialize this idea. And then everyone got so excited and then very supportive at that time. So we start the planning and then the video shooting about 2 months before the course started. So at that time, it's still a work from home period, but members are so excited. They are willing to come back and then we work in the lab to do the video shooting and then to planning. So it's actually is a very excited and a lot of fun during the process. Okay. So in our traditional teaching theory, we know that the transfer of knowledge is always occurred from the instructor to student. So then we say that is teaching occurred. However, this type of traditional teaching theory that do not fully meet the needs of the today classroom, especially we really feel this when during the MCO time. So at that time, we try to find out how can we do this so that we can let the student feel that they are actually in the classroom, although they cannot come back to campus at that time. So I go and read out a lot about this. So I come across an article talk about experiential learning. So this experiential learning actually is to provide authentic or real life experience to students so that you can get the student to engage more in learning, so to promote deeper learning as well. However, to provide this authentic real-time experience can be very time-consuming, very hard to access also, very difficult to scale and expensive, especially when we are serving a great numbers of students. Like for a medical program in year 1, we have about 150 students per cohort. So, and then immersive learning simulation become the valuable tools here because it can provide this experiential learning opportunity. And it's easy to be scalable, come with a built-in assessment mechanism as well. I will show how can this how can we do this in my subsequent video sharing later on. Okay. So my course is MDP 10307. This is the third block because in medical program we divided our course into a block system. So the year 1 student come in, they will go through the first 2 block, which is more towards introductory block. So the third block will be more to a system block. So in this block, student will be introduced to a lot of knowledge, basic clinical and laboratory skill for to diagnose and for the blood and immunology disorder. Okay. So it's a 6-week course. The objective of this course is more to equip the student and knowledge, practical skill to deal with the blood immune system. And we also have a very important component here is the very unique characteristic in this our medical course in the year 1, year 2. We have early clinical exposure here. We do introduce students to the basic physical examination skill, basic medical procedures, and also we have a lot of laboratory and practical session to equip the student with the laboratory investigation knowledge to come to diagnose a disease Okay, so although they're in the preclinical year, but they have all this early clinical exposure. So in this course, we are packed with a lot of hands-on session. During the conventional face-to-face teaching, we had no problem because we have our teaching lab, our clinical skill lab. But when during MCO time, it's really become a big headache to me. Because I've been coordinating this course since I joined UNIMAS in year 2002. For my experience in coordinating and teaching this course is about 20 years. So we have improved a lot in terms of the face-to-face teaching mode. But come to MCO, this is the first time. I don't know how to handle it. So it's really packed with a lot of hands-on, how to make all this become an online session. We have clinical examination, 1 session, basic medical procedure, 2 sessions. I have 9 sessions of laboratory practicals. So the only way we can do is make our own in-house created video. Okay. So I do read about the philosophy of teaching using immersive learning experience by this Beckham and Watkins, published in year 2012. It shares that like learning is a shared activities. It requires students to acquire, integrate new knowledge through experiential interaction. And then the author mentioned that there's 2 very valuable tools here for immersive learning experience, which is the demo videos and case study. So I emphasize these 2 during the MD teaching during MCO. Okay, so this will proven that these 2 teaching method will be able to increase the student engagement in the learning and then promote deeper learning. And it's very useful during the online teaching when face-to-face limited teaching for face-to-face interaction. Okay. So for in-house demo video, we created this in the faculty teaching facility for clinical examination, medical procedure, and practical skill. And then the video was edited and then put in a lot of other material like subtitles, UNIMAS logo and all this, and then make it available on eLeap and also on YouTube. So it's accessible by the student anytime, anywhere. So the students are more in control of how and then when they want to learn about this. So because the video was taken in our own laboratory setting, so it really suit our local scenario. So it will help the student also to better understand the complex concept or process. Because you want to teach a process or skill, by giving a lecture, I think it's not so effective. Having a demo video, I think is the best option at that time. So by looking at the video and then repeat and looking at the video, so the students are able to practice it repeatedly, the procedure in a safe and non-threatening environment when they're at home. Okay, so they didn't go out, they don't come to campus, so it's okay. They can practice this by looking at the video, and then this will actually accomplish an immersive learning simulation in a real life experience in the faculty. Because we do think that by doing this video in our own laboratory lab, the student will create a sense of belonging to the student who at that time is the year 1 student. They haven't got chance to come back to campus here. And then more importantly, that this in-house demo video is easily scalable, reusable, and then transferable, and then uniquely suited to the instructor and the learner as well. So although now we will go back to the normal face-to-face teaching, but this video also become a very important teaching material in my course, and then students love it. So the other tool is case study. So this is a solo invaluable learning tools. This we give a case scenario is by one of the members who are professor in clinical medicine, and then he have encountered a lot of cases, and then from his many years of experience in clinical practice, he compile all these cases become a case scenario and then put up all the detail and then let the student try to answer the question, and then one of the session he will do an online live discussion with the session. So I do a recording on the online session, and then I put it also share now with the current cohort student. So the student also have time to replay the session, and then if they miss out anything, they can always recall from the video as well. Okay, so this enable the student to engage in a more meaningful interaction with the lecturer and their peers. And then with this case study, sometimes we call it case-based discussion. Actually, it's a method we can move beyond just remember, understand, or applying concept, but to a higher order of Bloom taxonomy of learning, to analyzing, evaluating, or even synthesizing information to formulate new knowledge. Again, this case study is easily scalable also, and then reusable, and then transferable for a uniquely suited to the instructor and learner as well. Okay. So I will show with you, this is one of the clinical examination skill. We take a video by Professor Henry to perform a cervical lymph node examination. Okay. So I try to make so we have a student come in here, and then maybe the video quality is not so good because we just take the video using our own phone. At that time, we don't have very good camera and all this, so sometimes we only use our phone to do the video shooting. So this is how we do it, and then perform the clinic lymph node examination. Okay. So these are posted on eLib as well. So the student will see how the lecturer do this clinical skill, and then they will repeatedly play the video and then learn it. After they learn it, we do some assessments as well to make sure the student have gained some skill from this video. So this will be discussed, I show you later in the subsequent slide later on. Okay. So this is another video just to share with you. We do some bleeding time with the student, and then so this we do put in Unimas logo as advised by the faculty lah. So that is copyright protected. Okay. So this is how so I make it fast so that so we do this is our medical lab technologies, Miss Puan Umi. We in the real video in YouTube, I tried to download. We do have subtitle, but I don't know why I insert here the subtitle was didn't appear well. Okay, in the YouTube channel, it's all with subtitles, so that easy for the student to understand the script as well. Okay. So we do this. Yeah. So here we do put in some guides here, like clean the area. So everything is edited by the laboratory technologies. They are very talented. It's all done in-house. Okay, we don't pay professional to come in to do for us. Okay, and then who also we ask the medical laboratory staff to act as the patient here. Okay, they are so creative. They even put in some background music. Okay. Okay, then the professor will explain in detail about the result of the bleeding time. Okay. So, and then another one is this is another medical procedure on blood taking. So blood taking actually is a very important procedure that the students should learn during the phase 1 teaching or the year 1 teaching. So in this session, we do have a video also here. So we do give instruction here, the step-by-step sequences that students have to follow when they're doing they're performing blood taking procedure. Okay, so we do. So we have to in this blood taking procedure as well. We emphasize the importance of ethics here. So students have to take consent from the patient and then explain to the patient the procedure. So communication skill is emphasized here with self-practice of medical ethics here. So one by one with the step, we teach the student and then we do the video. Okay. So I make it fast. So actually this one we do on a training arm. It's a training arm for the student to practice. Okay, so now we use a training arm for the video shooting as well. Okay, awesome. So after the video also, when the student come back to campus, we do have this practice arm for the student to practice. So some students, when they come back to campus, they do come to the lab and then do practice the skill on the training arm. So this actually let the student able to gain the true knowledge transfer to the integration of theory and practice. So by giving them their task, and then this is student enjoy a lot. Okay. So apart from that, we also have a live online practical session conducted by Dr. Paul and the team. So this is the last practical session of the course. To conclude the session, Dr. Paul make a lab tour with a live practical during the MCO time. So a lab tour and then show the student how the teaching lab look like and then how the real practical is conducted in the lab. So it's also add a lot of value to immersive learning in this course. So we gain a lot of good student feedback on the clinical demo practical video, and then easy and clear to understand. And also very interesting part, they like the case-based question, so to help them to understand a lot the topic. Okay. So in fact, this student said that she loved the video so much, and then actually make her self-directed learning more fun. And she even make it into a playlist and play whenever before exam or when she have tired in studying. So this actually is a rewarding effort because students enjoy the video, because although that is mainly made during for MCO teaching, but it still become a very useful teaching method in the current face-to-face teaching. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So during the feedback, again, during the student feedback, you see that a lot of them actually put excellent. They score excellent for the video, the demo video, and the clinical session. Okay. So the assessment part, we have the philosophy to think that assessment drive learning. So the most significant influence on student experience for medical education is the assessment method that we're going to apply here. So during the MCO teaching, because we only can do online assessment. However, online assessment have a lot of limitation. We had to modify so to make it more appropriate with the elite platform, and then also not to overburden the student, because most of the student we get feedback from them, they don't have a good access to good quality of internet connection. So we had to really think about what is the best way that these students are not left out from the assessment and the teaching in this course. So we try to adjust the assessment method and modify it, and then so that we don't overburden the student. And then we believe that the quality of assessment is more important than the quantity. So we don't increase a lot assessment method component, but we do make sure that the assessment method is can benefit both the student with good and poor internet access. So we have assignment here. So we do ask the student after they watch the clinical skill video, they had to do a video as well by performing the cervical lymph node examination on their family members. They took the video and then they upload in ELIP. So I had to thanks the technical support team. They do prepare very well, very good guide here to tell the student how to embed a link for online to and upload the video. So student feedback to me is that in this course, apart from learning the clinical skill, also they learn how to do video and then how to upload video on ELIP. Okay. So just to share with you, these students have a very good video taken and then to perform the skill on the family members. So from this video, you can see that it also have a built-in assessment component here, because by watching this video we can see that the student do have the theory put into the practice, and then also emphasize on the medical ethics here, where they have to explain to the patient and then take consent from the patient before they perform the examination. So all the safe practice, medical ethics, and confirmed consent are all emphasized in this video as well. So the three component is three domains can be covered here: the cognitive domain, the psychomotor domain, and also the affective domain, all covered in only one self-recorded video. Okay. And then apart from that, we have a lot of formative assessment here to help the student to learn when we have only online teaching. So we do put in a lot of demo video. At the same time, after each practical video, I will put in a practical practice in the choice format in ELIP, because I don't apply a lot of fancy app for ELIP in the teaching of this course. I only apply the simple one like choice forum, questionnaire, and quiz. Okay? So I saw that we don't really burden the student a lot because as what Miss Natasha says, simple but it's fun and then effective. Okay, so this video, they watch the video and then they read the notes, then they have to do the question here. And all this program, all this diagram is all taken in our own teaching lab. We do the experiment and then I take photo and then I make it into a question for the student to practice. For example, here for blood cell counting as well. So student will watch the video and then they will do the cell counting that I post on the elite choice. Okay. And then the video as well, not only part for embed as a video in the elite, we also give the link for the student if they want to watch it on YouTube channel. Okay. So like this blood grouping, they have to watch 2 videos, then they practice the question that I post on elite. Okay. So we also let the student to draw the blood cell because they have no chance to look at their own blood cell at that time. They have no chance to come back to the faculty. So we only share the video and then by looking at the video, they try to identify the cell and then they put in the drawing. And then I'm very happy. Actually, a lot of our students are very talented in drawing as well. Okay. Okay. And for the medical procedure here, in the face-to-face teaching, we do have an OSCE station. OSCE means the Objective Structured Clinical Exam. We do face-to-face, we ask the student to come back. When student was before MCO, they do come back to the faculty, then we test them on the spot there to perform the blood taking procedure. So in online teaching, this is not possible. So we try to think of a way. So we create a video by purposely omit some important step when doing blood taking. So we upload this video, we ask the student to view it, try to identify what is the erroneous step in performing a blood taking procedure. Not only just making a quiz or MCQ question to test the student, I think this is a more proper way for the student to gain the knowledge in clinical skill. Okay. So now we don't really do the online OSCE, so we go back to the hands-on OSCE station. So this is what we do now. We do have OSCE station. We put the arm here and then we give the instruction for the student to do perform a blood taking within 6 minutes. And then this is how the exam is conducted in a face-to-face teaching now. Student have to do the blood taking and then it will be assessed by the examiner here, like our lecturer or medical lab technology. We have a checklist. We have a checklist here, so the student have to fulfill all the sequences that to get good marks for the clinical skill here. So apart from that, the formatted assessment also we have the online forum. During the COVID time, we cannot have a seminar conducted. So we do an online forum so that because the seminar is more to blood donation, the theme is blood donation. So I make it become an online forum to ask the student to give the ideas how to promote the blood donation among the UNIMA student and then get quite a good response from the student. And then the ideas, some of the ideas quite brilliant also. It's a lot of fun to read the student ideas here. Okay. So apart from that, I think ELIT also provide a very good platform to promote the immersive learning experience because some of the topic when we have no chance to discuss in detail during lecture time, but it's a current trend in medical advancement. So we do post the information online and then try to explain to student and then let the student to voice out their opinion in elite choice as well. For example, like corporate banking. Okay. So another one which I want to share with all is about weekly quiz because I get a very good comment from the student during the COVID time. We do a lot of synchronous and asynchronous teaching. And then one of the problem is that we cannot track the attendance of the student. And the attendance is an important component in our medical program where we have to practice 90% of attendance for students to be eligible to sit for the final exam. So it really a headache for us how to track the student attendance at that time. So I come out with this idea, why don't I do a weekly quiz? I don't make the lecturer to take attendance for every lecture. Because, like for example, in 1 week, you have 10 lectures. Then if every lecturer make a quiz, the student have to attend 10 quizzes in 1 week. I think it's overburden the student. So I don't allow this. So I just compile 2 single answer questions from each lecture. And then this single answer question only allowed 3 options, A, B, C only. And in the quiz setting, I make the student have the chance to attend twice. So the children can attend the quiz twice. So if first time they get the wrong answer, second time they still get the wrong answer. So definitely they know what is the correct answer already. Okay, so I no need to have a discussion with them with the answer, but by doing the simple setting in ELIP, and then I can make this become a very effective way for the student to learn. Okay, so actually I don't expect the student love the quiz. They say they are so on board with the quiz, even though it's just as attendance taken, but actually now become a very effective way for them to learn and then to revise the lecture for each week, and then they attend the quiz. Okay. So how to make sure that I will able to achieve all the CLO in this course by doing this immersive learning experience during MCO time. So in the cognitive domain, we do able to achieve all this by doing a lot of activities in ELIP at that time, and also psychomotor, especially the video demo video part, and the student had to perform the self-recorded clinical examination skill. Okay, affective domain also we're able to cover here because they had to respond and then communicate, and also during the online discussion, and then importantly is that to internalize the values of medical ethics here. So when performing the clinical skill. And the last part, they also have to appreciate that donate blood is to give the gift of life through the blood donation forum. So this is the achievement during the time. So we are able to achieve the CLO with very good marks. Okay, so the CLO 1 is basically on theory part, CLO 2 to the practical skill, CLO 3 is more to the PBL skill, and the last part is the clinical skill. So all is above 90%, although it's a fully online teaching. Okay, so I think to make the immersive learning experience very effective using an ELIP platform, the organization and administration or coordination of the ELIP page is very important, because I do get feedback from the student from the previous course they have attended. They feel that the ELIP page is so much thing, and then not very well organized. They get confused. Sometimes they miss the deadline for certain quiz, and then they don't get the mark if it's a continuous assessment. So from the student feedback, I do arrange the ELIP page like this. So every week we have a theme. So I put some cartoons here so that more fun for the student. Then they feel, wow, next week with another team. I don't know what Maiden Day will put out the cartoon. They are looking forward for my cartoon to be posted on next week. So I put on the cartoons here, and then I arrange all the material is in a systematic way. So I compile all the lecture note PDF in one folder, and then all the demo video in one folder. Apart from the demo video, if I found some useful YouTube links, I also put in the YouTube here in another folder. Okay. And we have a group exercise and some supplementary reading material, because at that time we do understand students cannot come back to campus. They have no access to library books. And then, so I do download some of the ebooks and any pages from the 11 ebooks. So I posted as a folder here under the supplementary reading materials. And then it will end up with a weekly quiz. Weekly quiz will help them to learn after they have read all and revise all the material here. At the same time, this weekly quiz also become the weekly attendance for me to monitor the attendance. So I don't take daily attendance, I take weekly attendance. Okay. And then also during the MCO teaching, we have a lot of live lecture, the synchronous session and also asynchronous session. I will record all the session and then share with the student, post on Unimas OneDrive, save in the folder. So for those students who have poor internet access, who cannot attend the live session, they can always go back to play back the video. Okay. So for example, here also, for the week they've packed with practical session, I do have a practice for the practical. After they read the notes, watch the video, they have to practice the question here. Okay. So practical video, just I mentioned just now, is embed as a video, teaching video in the ELIP page. Okay. Or the student can get it from the YouTube channel. So from the student feedback, so we do improve on the quality of the video by adding in a lot of subtitle And my lab members, team member, they are very creative. They even create a YouTube channel. So in the YouTube channel here, we have 17 demo videos we created in-house, 3 case study, online case study that we recorded, and then 1 live online practical. And also we do a compilation of student video, which have do very good video self-recorded. We compile it, we make it here. So it's now shared by the new cohort student. They can always come back and view this if they need it. Although it's also available in elite batch. Sometimes they, like the one of the students said, he either already put this in one of her playlists. He will play this whenever he want to learn and then recall her knowledge. Okay. And I think this is very important, especially for the students self-recorded video, because we have a greater number of students now, 150 per year. So it's impossible for us to run a station to ask 150 students to perform the clinical examination skill and then assessed by the lecturer in maybe it will take 1 day. So now we ask the student to do it, pause on Elite, then we download, then the lecturer can do the assessment easily. Okay. So in summary, this is I summarize all the approach that we have used to for the teaching of this course during the COVID time by promoting the immersive learning experience. So it covers 3 main domain here: cognitive, psychomotor, affective. So the selling point in this course is our in-house created demo video, and then this really create an immersive learning experience among the students. Okay. And then we do have feedback, and then we try. I always believe that nobody is perfect. There's always room for improvement. So we share the video with students. So every year I get feedback from students. Then we try to improve also every year. Okay. So we hope that this immersive blended learning experience that we have already tried to do it for this course, we'll hope the student will be able to integrate the theory they learn into the clinical performance and reasoning in their clinical years. So hopefully they'll make the transition from the pre-clinical year to into clinical year is more bearable and less distressing for them. And the most importantly, the learning experience will be able to transfer to the real world during the future medical professional practice. Okay. So actually, by doing this project, it's a truly rewarding effort to all of us when your students say that our dedication means the world to them. So when I receive this message, I feel so touched, and then it's really a rewarding effort, although it takes many months to get things done. When you receive a 3,000 star from the student, and even you get a love message from the student in Elite as well. So So lastly, I would like to acknowledge all my team members who are very talented, and then for their great team spirit. If without them, I don't think this project will be successful. I want to thank UNIMAS for this award and the faculty support also. Many thanks to the CAM technical teams who are always there whenever I need them, especially Norizan. She's always there whenever I need her. I always call her. She will respond to my problem very fast. Thank you very much to CAM, the technical team. Okay. And then I must thank Professor Chiu. He is the one who encouraged me to apply for this award. I don't really have a very good documentation at that time, so I delayed a year, try to start collecting the documentation and proof, then only I submit the application. And then the guidance by Dr. Chia and Mr. Dev with me, helped me with fill out the application form also. I really appreciate that. Okay. And then last but not least, these are all my department members, all the lab members, although I cannot put everybody's in the team, but they are really the one behind the pillar, the strong pillar behind me that give me all the support. And then the reward has actually marked a significant milestone in my 20-year of teaching profession. Thank you for that. Okay, I think that's all for my sharing. I don't have very fancy slide, fancy course portfolio, just very simple, just share what we have done. And then I think this is a good approach for us to promote immersive learning experience among the students. Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you, Madam Tay, for the insightful and benefits sharing from you. I have a question, Madam Tay.
Okay.
I believe that when I saw your portfolio, your presentation, your team are producing a lot of videos. So
Yeah.
definitely it's required time for you and your
Yes.
team. So could you please share with us how you manage your time when you are producing the video? Even though I know that the videos, you started producing the video when the MCO, right? And then until now, you are still producing a new videos, right? You are adding on the video and then in the YouTube channel as well. So how you manage your time in producing the videos as well as managing your teaching and learning? Could you share with us?
Yeah, actually, I spend a lot of time. I love teaching so much. So, sorry to say, that's why I don't really do a lot of research and publication, but I do a lot of teaching so much. And then I'm very lucky to have my team like Professor Henry, Dr. Paul, and my lab members. They are so good. They are so supportive. So when I voice out my ideas to them, why don't we make our own video? They get excited, so they are waiting to come back. So we sit down, we practice social distancing at that time. We sit down in the lab, we discuss how to plan this. We even write the script. We had to write the script. And then they try many times, and then we also had to balakong. So we cannot find student at that time, so we balakong among ourselves. And then it take a long time. The two members are very good in video editing is Mr. Romina, Madam Umi, and Mr. Azahar. Mr. Azahar now was already transferred to, I think, HR already. So these three actually help us to do a lot of video shooting and then do the editing and then put in the subtitle. The subtitle we put in, I think, when that time when Kam asked me to apply for ACRI, that one, the comment from the assessors that maybe should put in the subtitle. So from now, we spend about 2 weeks time to put in the subtitle and then we upload in the YouTube channel. So again, I think this one-man show will not be able to do this. So team spirit is very important. I will emphasize that teamwork is very important for us to produce a very excellent work. So I must thank my team member. I really appreciate. So I only can put in, I think, not everyone can be put inside the application form. So that's why I put up the last photo just now. I want to acknowledge all the laboratory technologies. They are the one who are the strong pillar behind me. Okay. In my 20 years of teaching, because I run a lot of practical sessions. I'm a very technical person. I do a lot of blood practical, hemato, immuno practical. So these are the people who help me a lot. Some of them even retired already, but I really thanks them a lot. Without them, I won't be here standing up on the stage to receive this award. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Tay, for the sharing. Yes, definitely it's required more effort and at the same time a great teamwork from your team as well. With that, I think we end of our session. Teaching excellence session sharing for award receiver 2023. So I would like to thank to all speakers, Associate Professor Dr. Devagi, Miss Natasha, Mr. Ahmad Alif Kamal, as well as Madam Tay, for the tremendous sharing on the ideas and the content of their work and initiative that they are using in their teaching and learning. I hope that all the participants in this workshop are gaining insight, ideas, and knowledge how to ready the portfolio in order to apply for this coming faculty level teaching excellence award, and as well as UNIMAS Magu for the next year, as well as AAN and ACRI at the national level. So I think we will end our session for today. Thank you very much to all the speakers and to all the participants who are be with us from 9 a.m. this morning until now. So thank you very much. And I will put again the QR code for those who are not yet scan your attendance, please do so. I would like to remind to all participants, we have an upcoming workshop for tomorrow. Face-to-face workshop entitled Penulisan Biografi dalam Aktiviti Kursus. We will start at around 8 a.m., 8:30, around 8:30 to 4 p.m. In active learning spaces, faculty engineering. So this is face-to-face workshop. So I would like to invite all of you to come to our workshop for tomorrow. Okay, so thank you very much to all. I will put again the QR attendance. Thank you very much. We'll see you then. Thank you. Take care, everyone.